Chapter 2042. Awu. The lid of the coffin opened, and savage roars came from within. Large amounts of black light drilled out of the coffin and dyed the entire space black. In the next moment, a man over 10 feet tall, dressed in black armor, holding an ancient bronze sword and with a black gold chain wrapped around his arm, sat up from the stone coffin. He stared at Yi Chun-Feng and the others with a pair of eyes that emitted black light. Zombie King. Bah. When Yi Chun-Feng saw the man radiating the aura of death, he immediately recognized him as the Zombie King Ba. However, the Ba in front of Yi Chun-Feng was much stronger than the Ba that Yi Chun-Feng had seen before. This Ba might have been refined from the corpse of a faux god with horrifying strength. Leave it to me. I'll deal with him. Seeing Ba's overwhelming aura of death, the Phoenix God immediately transformed into her strongest combat form. Burning with Phoenix divine fire, she launched a ferocious attack at him. Ooh! As the Phoenix God attacked, Ba let out a furious roar. He swung his ancient bronze sword, stirring up rule power as he slashed at the Phoenix God, tearing apart the Phoenix divine flames. Demonic Emperor Divine Bell. The Phoenix God immediately spat out the Demon Emperor's divine bell to meet the oncoming ancient bronze sword. Buzz! As the two divine weapons clashed, the sound of space shattering rang out in the Yin Temple. Large amounts of energy rippled in the air, forming dense ripples. What a tough spatial wall! How terrifying was the destructive power of the two divine weapons. However, they were unable to tear apart the space of the underworld palace. This made Yi Chun-Feng shocked at the level of the desolate tomb space. Blood. I want to drink blood. Ba ignored the dense, spatial ripples and let out a vicious cry. He continued to attack the Phoenix God with his ancient bronze sword, wanting to quickly kill her and drink her blood. Divine Phoenix Shadow. As Ba's murderous aura surged, the Phoenix God immediately manifested numerous divine phantoms that descended from the sky and launched a series of ferocious attacks at Ba. Ka! 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 Facing the attacks of the divine Phoenix phantoms, Ba suddenly took a step forward, sending out ripples of energy to meet them, tearing apart the divine Phoenix phantoms, descending from the sky, and forcing the divine Phoenix phantoms to retreat. Linger, can you see through this Ba? Yi Chun-Feng never expected the Ba to be so valiant as to break through the Phoenix God's attacks one after another. This Ba came from another cosmos. When he was alive, his strength was on par with the Phoenix Gods, comparable to your universe void god late-stage powerhouses. Since he was sealed here, he's long familiarized himself with the rules here. He can borrow the power of the rules to attack, which is why the Phoenix God is restrained in every way. Mu Linger, whose eyes had turned ashen white, murmured. Then, are you able to discover his weakness? Yi Chun-Feng frowned and continued to ask. Not yet, but he definitely has a weak point. Mu Linger shook her head. As she spoke, the Phoenix God was struck by Ba's powerful spatial rule power. She was sent flying and slammed into a stone pillar. Blood flowed from the corner of her mouth. Phoenix God, I'll help you. Yi Chun-Feng saw that the Phoenix God was injured and immediately summoned his two great void god swords. He stepped forward and attacked the Ba wrapped in death chi. Myriad, deity, tribulation. Yi Chun-Feng instantly combined his 3 trump cards and raised his strength to the peak of mid-level void god. With the 2 great void god swords in hand, he unleashed an unparalleled attack that could destroy gods as he attacked Ba. Just as the myriad deity tribulation was about to hit Ba, the space in front of him suddenly began to ripple. The incomparably sturdy spatial walls weakened the myriad deity tribulation's attack until they finally broke apart. Demon Emperor Divine Bell, destroy. The Phoenix God suppressed her injuries and spat out multiple mouthfuls of essence blood into the bell, activating its attack power. Like a lofty mountain, it slammed into Ba. But Ba was too terrifying with his ability to control spatial rule power. Borrowing the power of the rules, he blocked the Demon Emperor Divine Bell and sent it flying with a single slash. Despite their repeated attacks, Yi Chen-feng and the Phoenix God didn't give up and kept attacking together. But no matter how hard they tried, they couldn't stop Ba's attacks. Instead, they were injured by Ba's spatial rule power. Linger, you haven't found Ba's weakness yet, right? As his injuries continued to worsen, Yi Chen-feng looked at the ashen-eyed Mu Linger and transmitted his question. Not yet. Mu Linger shook her head. This Ba's strength is too terrifying. It's not easy to find his weakness. Big Bro Yi, can you guys do your best to break through his defenses? That way, it'll be easier for me to find him. All right. Yi Chen-feng nodded and quickly communicated with the Phoenix God via voice transmission. In the next moment, Yi Chen-feng and the Phoenix God simultaneously unleashed a powerful domain power that enveloped Ba, using the domain power to forcefully suppress his body. While Ba's terrifying battle strength tore through the two domains with his bronze sword, Yi Chen-feng and the Phoenix God closed in on him and launched fatal attacks. Nirvana energy. The Phoenix God burned his blood essence to activate his strongest Nirvana energy to attack Ba. Meanwhile, Yi Chen-feng used his three supreme combat arts to attack Ba at the same time. Boom boom. Although Ba had mobilized the power of space to defend himself, the power of this attack was too terrifying. Layers upon layers of space were penetrated by the power of nirvanic rebirth and the three supreme divine abilities. The terrifying attack ruthlessly slammed into Ba's body, shattering his defense and sending him flying. After successfully injuring Ba, Yi Chen-feng and the Phoenix God pressed on with their attacks, unleashing a barrage of terrifying attacks to give Ba a chance for Mu Linger to find his fatal weakness. Under Yi Chen-feng and the Phoenix God's relentless attacks, Ba's defenses were shattered again and again. His battle armor was covered in cracks as well. Still, Yi Chen-feng and the Phoenix God were injured by Ba's ferocious counterattacks as well, their injuries worsening. I found it. The Ba's weak point is its lower abdomen. If we can pierce through it, we can destroy all of the death energy in its body. Mu Linger had finally discovered the Ba's weak point and transmitted to Yi Chen-feng and Long Fei. All right, now that he knew Ba's weakness, Yi Chen-feng didn't hesitate to summon the evil-shattering Thousand Streams and Divine Spirit Pagoda to suppress Ba and restrict his movements. At this moment, the Divine Phoenix God also merged with the Demon Emperor's Divine Bell, bringing with it a boundless suppressive force as it smashed towards Ba. Rumble, rumble, rumble. Under the combined might of the Phoenix God and the two supreme weapons, Ba's movements were greatly affected. Seizing this rare opportunity, Yi Chen-feng executed the way of controlling equipment. He activated the strongest attack of the two foe god swords and threw them with all his might, piercing towards the Ba's abdomen. Swish, swish. Struck by the two void spirit swords, Ba's stomach was pierced through. As Mu Linger said, all of the death energy in its body crumbled away. Demon Emperor's Divine Bell, destroy. Chapter 2043. What's this? After killing the late-stage Nihility god Ba, a dark golden key with ancient runes carved on it appeared from his shattered body. This should be the key to opening the space within the primitive Desolate tomb. Mu Linger stepped lightly into the air as she slowly walked over. She took the key from Yi Chen-feng's hands and examined it carefully. In other words, with this key, we can enter the space within the primitive Desolate tomb. Yi Chen-feng exclaimed in delight. It's hard to say. Mu Linger shook her head. But if we want to take the initiative, we might need to find a few more keys. If each key only allows one person in, it'll be troublesome. Find a few more keys. Yi Chen-feng knitted his brows. Supreme God Heaven and Supreme Emperor Heaven were in the Cemetery of Death and could run into them at any time. It was too risky to search for the keys now. But Yi Chen-feng was determined to get his hands on the primitive Desolate tomb's legacy. After some hesitation, Yi Chen-feng summoned Shen Daoshu and gave him a teleportation talisman so he could wait in the tomb. If Yi Chen-feng's group was unlucky enough to run into Supreme Emperor Heaven or Supreme God Heaven, they could use Tai's teleportation talisman to escape without a trace. Linger, take us to the second tomb. After leaving the teleportation talisman with Shen Daoshu, Yi Chunfeng put away the bronze sword and black gold chains that were as hard as void spirit weapons. Then he followed Yi Chunfeng out of the tomb and towards the next one. The graveyard of death was enormous. Even though Mu Linger had grasped the spatial laws of the graveyard and guided them through a safe path, it still took Yi Chunfeng's group 5 days to reach the other exit of the mausoleum and find a second giant tomb. While searching for the tomb, the heretic god finally took the final step and broke through to the late stage of the void spirit realm. His battle strength increased by nearly 100 times. The fiend god's breakthrough had greatly increased the strength of Yi Chunfeng and the others, but they still couldn't eliminate the threat of the Supreme Divine Heaven and Supreme Emperor Heaven. If they encountered the two of them, Yi Chunfeng and the others would face a life and death crisis. Come, let's go in. When Yi Chunfeng discovered that the entrance to the mausoleum was untouched, he immediately broke through the restrictions and entered with the Phoenix God, Mu Linger, and the heretic god. The rule power in this mausoleum is so familiar. Inside the mausoleum, Mu Linger's eyes lit up. These seem to be the rules of our universe. Perhaps the person buried in this tomb is a big shot from our universe. Come, let's go in and take a look. If the big shot buried here really came from my universe, maybe I can easily find the fatal part of him. Weakness. So speaking, Yi Chunfeng's group quickened their steps to follow behind Mu Linger as they followed a stone corridor into the depths of the mausoleum. As they ventured deeper into the mausoleum, Yi Chunfeng and the others were attacked by many strange insects that contained divine power. However, with the Phoenix God and the evil god's breakthrough, these strange insects were no longer a threat to them and were easily killed. About 2 hours later, Yi Chunfeng's group reached the deepest parts of the mausoleum and saw 2 stone doors that were dozens of zhang tall. Their surfaces were carved with ancient Tao markings and totems. That's right, the Tao markings on these doors come from our universe. Mu Linger lightly stepped forward and stroked the markings. She exclaimed in pleasant surprise. Break! Mu Linger quickly formed a series of complicated hand seals that sent rays of profound light into the doors, easily breaking open their seals. Next, Yi Chunfeng's arms exploded with 100 million caddies of strength to push open the heavy doors of the Yin Hall and enter the depths of the mausoleum filled with dancing qi. In the center of the mausoleum was a sarcophagus carved with fiend totems. These diagrams, could it be that the one sealed inside the sarcophagus is a fiend? Seeing the fiend totems carved into the stone pillars and the surface of the sarcophagus, Mu Linger could guess who was sealed inside. Fiend! Linger, how strong is this fiend? Yi Chunfeng had heard of the famous fiend before, but he'd never seen one before, so he didn't know much about them. The fiend clan is rare even in our universe. Every single one of them is a valiant warrior who excels in battle. Their battle prowess far surpasses that of our elf clan. Moreover, the fiend clan's physical bodies are extremely strong, comparable to the strongest gods and devils of your world. Normal void god weapons can't even destroy them. Even void god weapons can't destroy them. Then does the fiend race have any weaknesses? Yi Chunfeng glared as he asked. I don't know much about the fiend race either. As far as I know, the only way to kill one is to shatter their physical body. Mu Linger shook her head. No matter what, we have to get the key to the fiend guard. Yi Chunfeng took a deep breath and slowly walked to the side of the stone coffin. Wielding the divine sword devourer, he forcefully broke the seal on the stone coffin. Crack, crack, crack. As the seal broke, a terrifying, evil energy emanated from the sarcophagus, causing cracks to appear on its sturdy surface. Boom! The sarcophagus shattered to reveal a 2 tall fiend with crimson skin and steel-like muscles. It had a pair of fiend horns on its head and a pair of blood-red wings on its back. Its form resembled the fiend gods as it appeared before Yi Chunfeng's group. A late void god fiend. Although fiends didn't belong to this universe, Yi Chunfeng could still sense from its aura that its strength was equivalent to late void god. It was even stronger than the Phoenix God and the Fiend God that had just broken through. But unlike the Ba that Yi Chunfeng's group had killed, Yi Chunfeng could sense a powerful life force within the Fiend's body. In other words, this fiend was alive and much harder to deal with than the Ba. Elf, you have the blood of the elf race flowing through your veins. The fiend glared at Mu Linger with its blood-red eyes as it spoke savagely. That's right. Mu Linger nodded. I want to drink your blood. Offer it to me. The elves and fiends were mortal enemies. After confirming that Mu Linger had elf blood flowing through her veins, the fiend opened its gaping maw and flapped its blood-red wings to attack her. 100 evil weapons, slash. As the fiend turned into a streak of blood-red light, the fiend god immediately stepped in front of Mu Linger. Wielding the 100 evil weapons, it slashed at the fiend to force it back. Fiend Trident. Suddenly, a blood-red trident covered in ancient patterns flew out of the fiend's mouth. Under its control, it grew larger and larger before flying towards the 100 evil weapons. Boom! The two weapons collided with a deafening sound that made Mu Linger's soul tremble in discomfort. Meanwhile, the fiend god was forced back again and again by the fiend's attack. Linger, hurry, and hide far away. Leave this fiend to us. Yi Qianfeng never expected the fiend to be so formidable. He immediately summoned the divine spirit pagoda and evil slaughter 1,000 streams to protect Mu Linger. She hid as far away from the Yin Hall as possible so she wouldn't be hurt by the shock waves. Once Mu Linger was far away, the Phoenix God transformed into its strongest battle form and attacked the fiend with the Demon Emperor's divine bell. Boom! While the fiend and fiend god were fighting, the Phoenix God used the bell to slam into the fiend's scarlet body. But the fiend's body only trembled under the attack. It wasn't hurt at all, allowing Yi Qianfeng's group to sense the terror of the fiend's body. Primordial bloodline ignition, God spirit heart, primal chaos dharma, idol fusion. After witnessing the fiend's terror, Yi Qianfeng immediately combined his 3 trump cards and raised his strength to the peak of mid-level void spirit realm. Wielding his 2 void spirit swords, he slashed at the fiend. Faced with Yi Qianfeng's group's attacks, the fiend didn't slow down in the slightest. Instead, it fought fiercely and continuously destroyed their attacks. Just as Yi Qianfeng's group was about to unleash all their attacks, the fiend's soul suddenly shone with rays of soul light. A scarlet sword soul flew out of his sea of soul and intertwined with a boundless sword on to slash at Yi Qianfeng's group. A scarlet sword soul. Chapter 2044. Phoenix God, Demon God. I'll leave the 3 of you to deal with the Crimson Sword Soul. The Crimson Sword Soul was a huge threat. Yi Qianfeng urged and activated his sword domain, forcefully blocking the Crimson Sword Soul's attacks. Wielding the 2 Void God swords, he attacked the Crimson Sword Soul with all his might. As Yi Qianfeng attacked, the highly intelligent Crimson Sword Soul immediately interweaved with thousands of sword shadows. Like a waterfall falling from the heavens, the Crimson Sword Soul shattered the sword domain and clashed fiercely with Yi Qianfeng. So strong, this Crimson Sword Soul is comparable to a Void God artifact. Yi Qianfeng did not expect the demon to cultivate his sword soul to such an extent. Its power was almost at the level of the divine sword swallowing the heavens. However, this also strengthened his resolve to suppress the Scarlet Sword Soul and refine it into an ancestral sword soul. 2 primitive Tao embryos come out. The primitive Tao embryos were formed from divine stones. Thus they were not affected by the Desolate Tomb's rules. The moment they appeared, they immediately attacked the Crimson Sword Soul with all their might. Mirror Image Doppelganger. When the 2 primitive Tao embryos attacked, Yi Qianfeng summoned 3 mirror image doppelgangers to attack the Crimson Sword Soul. In an instant, the Crimson Sword Soul's attacks were suppressed. Waves after waves of destructive attacks landed on the Crimson Sword Soul, aggravating its injuries. Yi Qianfeng continued to inflict heavy damage on the Crimson Sword Soul. Phoenix God and Demon God fought, but they could not suppress the demon. Facing the demon with an invincible physique and defense, the Phoenix God and Demon God unleashed all of their attacks, but they could not injure the demon's body at all. Even the Phoenix God fire that could incinerate everything could not harm the demon's body. Is this the strongest physique in the other universe? Isn't this too terrifying? The more the Phoenix God and Demon God fought, the more shocked they became. They felt that the demon's physique was comparable to a void god artifact, and it was almost impossible to shatter it. Demon Domain. Enduring the Phoenix God and Demon God's ferocious attacks, the demon suddenly opened up a powerful demon domain, trapping the Phoenix God and Demon God inside. The moment the demon was trapped, the Phoenix God and Demon God simultaneously opened up a powerful domain, wanting to tear the demon's domain apart. However, the power of the demonic domain was beyond their imagination. Their domains were unable to tear the demonic domain apart. While the Phoenix God and Evil God were trying their best to break through the devil's domain, the devil suddenly appeared with the devil's trident in his hand. It pierced through layers of space and stabbed at the Phoenix God. Although the Phoenix God had broken through to the late stage of the Nihility God realm, the devil's trident was comparable to a Nihility God artifact. The power of the trident was beyond what the Phoenix God realm could withstand. It was enough to destroy her body. Be careful. At the critical moment, the evil god stood in front of the Phoenix God and used his immortal body to block the attack of the devil's trident. Boom! The evil god's strong body immediately exploded after receiving the destructive blow from the devil's trident. However, the instant the evil god's body exploded, he fused a large amount of his lifeblood into the 100 evil weapons, activating the divine runes in the weapons and slashing apart the evil domain, forcing the ferocious evil devils to retreat. Immortal Bloodline Repair. When the 100 evil soldiers defeated the demons, the evil god activated his immortal bloodline and quickly repaired his body. He summoned the 100 evil soldiers back and continued to attack the demons fiercely. Sword Domain Trap. When Yi Qinfeng saw that the evil god and Phoenix God were unable to suppress the demons, he increased the power of his sword domain to suppress the Crimson Sword Soul. He wanted to end the battle quickly and help the Phoenix God and Phoenix God fend off the demons. Crimson Sword Soul Return. The demons sensed that the Crimson Sword Soul's injuries were worsening under Yi Qinfeng's and primitive Dao Embryo's ferocious attacks. They wanted to summon the Crimson Sword Soul back. Sensing the demon's summons, the Crimson Sword Soul wanted to fly back. Can you fly back? Yi Qinfeng's pupils shrank. The Nine Nether emerged from his body and swallowed the Crimson Sword Soul under his control. In the next moment, Yi Qinfeng brought the two primitive Dao embryos into the Nine Nether and used the Nine Nether's energy to attack the Crimson Sword Soul. The Nine Nether was a top-grade ancestral artifact, and the Crimson Sword Soul's strength was comparable to a Void God artifact. Swallowing the Crimson Sword Soul would put the Nine Nether in great danger. However, Yi Qinfeng couldn't care less at this moment. Under the suppression of the Nine Nether's energy, the Crimson Sword Soul went berserk. Tens of thousands of rays of sword light interweaved with each other. The rays of sword light were like the Milky Way flowing in reverse, destroying the Nine Nether space. Seizing the opportunity when the Crimson Sword Soul was attacking the Nine Nether, Yi Qinfeng and the two primitive Dao embryos launched ferocious attacks on the Crimson Sword Soul. Roughly an incense stick's worth of time later, under Yi Qinfeng and the two primitive Dao embryos' relentless attacks, the Crimson Sword Soul finally crumbled. Subsequently, Yi Qinfeng pushed his sword domain to the limit and forcefully suppressed the Crimson Sword Soul that was trying to reconstruct its soul. He summoned the ancestral Sword Soul and had it devour the Crimson Sword Soul. The Crimson Sword Soul resisted fiercely, but its soul was already destroyed and it was suppressed by the sword domain. It couldn't resist the ancestral Sword Soul's devouring. Very soon, the Crimson Sword Soul was devoured by the ancestral Sword Soul and returned to Yi Qinfeng's Soul Sea to refine it. Once the ancestral Sword Soul finished refining the Crimson Sword Soul, it was very likely to evolve into a Void God Sword Soul. After devouring the Crimson Sword Soul, Yi Qinfeng immediately left the battered and damaged Nine Nether to help the battered Phoenix God and Wraith God fend off the Fiend. Ling, have you discovered the Fiend's weakness? Yi Chanfeng discovered that the Phoenix God and Wraith God were both heavily injured, while the fiend with an invincible body was only lightly injured. Feeling troubled, he transmitted to the distant Mulinger. "No, I feel like this fiend has no weakness." Mulinger nodded. "No weakness?" Yi Chanfeng knitted his brows. If the fiend had no weakness, then it would be too difficult for the three of them to destroy its body. That's not right. If the fiend's body has no weakness, then it's very likely its soul is its weakness. Suddenly, Yi Chanfeng had a flash of inspiration as he guessed the fiend's weakness. To prove his guess, Yi Chanfeng had the Phoenix God and Wraith God attack the fiend's head together. As Yi Chanfeng predicted, the fiend immediately used its trident to defend against Yi Chanfeng's trio's combined attacks. It didn't give the three great Void God weapons a chance to hit its head. As expected, the head is the fiend's weakness. With this discovery, Yi Chanfeng's trio used their Void God weapons to attack the fiend's head in succession. Because it was worried about getting hit in the head, the fiend had to divert its attention to defend itself, greatly affecting its combat strength. Slowly, the evil demon's attacks were suppressed by Yi Chanfeng and the other two. The evil demon flapped his wings violently, creating tornadoes. However, the evil demon's wings were now riddled with cracks. Blood flowed out of them, slowing down his movement speed. As its injuries worsened, the fiend went berserk and attacked with all its might with its trident. Its terrifying attacks were like towering mountains crashing down on Yi Chanfeng's group. But for the sake of killing the fiend, Yi Chanfeng's group grit their teeth and didn't retreat. They used all their skills to fight the fiend in a bloody battle. Time turned into minutes and seconds. Soon enough, a day had passed. Chapter 2045. "Die!" the evil demon roared. The evil demon's trident carried an indomitable killing intent as it pierced into Yi Chanfeng's body. Bang! Yi Chanfeng's sword domain was instantly shattered. The terrifying evil demon's trident shone with the light of death as it directly pierced through Yi Chanfeng's physical body. The moment Yi Chanfeng's physical body exploded, the evil god and the Phoenix God both released their invincible attacks. With great coordination, they attacked the evil demon's eyes and pierced them. Roar! 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 After his eyes were attacked, the evil demon let out a painful howl. Large amounts of blood flowed out uncontrollably. Undying divine ability. When the evil demon's eyes were injured, Yi Chanfeng, who was pierced by the evil demon's trident, suddenly used the undying divine ability to rapidly repair his body. In the next moment, he infused a large amount of his blood into the two Void God swords and used the artifact controlling Tao to control the two Void God swords to slash at the evil demon's head. With his eyes injured, the evil demon's reaction speed was greatly reduced. When he sensed danger and instinctively dodged, the two Void God swords that were infused with the temporal law slashed at his head. Kacha! The evil demon's physical body was almost invincible, but his head was indeed his weak point. After receiving the attack from the two Void God swords, his head immediately cracked open. His soul was also injured by the two Void God swords. Soul Devourer's Child Brain. After the evil demon's head exploded, Yi Chanfeng immediately summoned the last Soul Devourer's Child Brain and threw it at the evil demon's head. He had it corrode the evil demon's soul see and devour his soul. Although Yi Chanfeng knew that this child brain wasn't enough to control the evil demon, the child brain's attack could greatly weaken the evil demon's combat strength and create the best opportunity for him to kill him. Let's attack. After using the undying divine ability to repair his exploded body, Yi Chanfeng, the Phoenix God, and the evil god continued to attack the evil demon. After being corroded by the Soul Devourer's child brain, the evil demon had to divert a large amount of energy to attack the child brain. This caused his combat strength to decrease drastically. He was completely suppressed by Yi Chanfeng's group. Demonic Domain Destroy. Unable to withstand the ferocious attacks of Yi Chanfeng and the others, the wound on its head became increasingly severe. The frenzied demon exploded a large amount of its origin blood, raising the might of its demon domain to the limit. It used all of its strength to withstand the tidal wave of attacks from Yi Chunfeng and the others. When the demon activated its devil domain, Yi Chunfeng and the other two simultaneously activated their domains and slammed into the demon. Boom, boom, boom. When the four domains collided, the domains of Yi Chunfeng and the other two exploded at the same time. The resulting explosion caused a large number of cracks to appear on the demonic domain, causing it to shatter into pieces. 100 evil weapons, slash. The evil devil domain shattered, and the evil god didn't care about the domain's backlash. He kept spitting blood into the 100 evil weapon, activating the divine runes on the weapon. The divine runes on the 100 evil weapon turned into an invincible divine weapon that ruthlessly slashed at the shattered evil devil domain. It broke the evil devil domain in one fell swoop and slashed at the howling evil devil. Dong, dong, dong. After receiving the fatal blow from the 100 evil weapons, the evil demon's huge body kept retreating. A deep, bloody gash ran through his body, forcing him to retreat again and again. Nirvana energy. The demon was forced back by the evil god. The Phoenix god immediately activated its strongest nirvana power and attacked the demon. It continued to attack his head. As long as it shattered his head and crushed his soul, it would be able to kill him. The battle grew more and more intense. Yi Chunfeng and the other two constantly stimulated their own potential to unleash heaven-shaking killing moves. They kept attacking the evil demon, whose soul was being nibbled away and who was howling in agony. They cracked his incomparably hard head and destroyed him one step further. Big brother Yi, you guys be careful. Suddenly, Mu Linger's expression shifted from her hiding spot as she shouted at Yi Chunfeng and the other two. As soon as Mu Linger spoke, the evil demon's bloodline power erupted from its body like an erupting volcano. It shot towards Yi Chunfeng and the other two at close range. Although Yi Chunfeng and the other two heard Mu Linger's warning and dodged in time, the evil demon's bloodline power was too terrifying. Its area of effect was too wide, making it impossible to dodge. In this critical moment, the evil god used its own body to shield Yi Chunfeng and the Phoenix god from the front, blocking the bloodline attack that was enough to kill a late-stage void spirit realm cultivator. Bang! The evil god's body exploded once again. Meanwhile, Yi Chunfeng and the Phoenix god, who were hiding behind the evil god to defend themselves with all their might, managed to avoid disaster. After using the bloodline attack, the evil demon's body weakened and its battle prowess plummeted again. Kill! As the evil god activated its undying bloodline to forcibly repair its body, Yi Chunfeng and the Phoenix god kept unleashing heaven-shaking killing moves to attack the weakened evil demon. Black gold chains bind. As the evil demon retreated in defeat, Yi Chunfeng summoned the black gold chains he'd obtained from killing Ba and used them to bind the evil demon. The evil demon's injuries were too severe. Its blood-red wings had almost been cut off, so it couldn't dodge the chains at all. Its body was bound in place. Ah! As its body was bound, the evil demon let out a furious roar. It struggled with all its might, trying to tear the black gold chains apart. However, its injuries were too severe and its bloodline power was severely depleted. It couldn't break the black gold chains at all. Seizing the opportunity when the evil demon was attacking the black gold chains, Yi Chunfeng and the Phoenix god attacked its shattered head with all their might. In the end, the evil demon's tough head exploded. Bang! The demon's head exploded. His soul, along with the soul devourer's brain, was crushed by Yi Chunfeng and the Phoenix god's killing moves at the same time. His strong body fell heavily into a pool of blood, and the life in his body rapidly disappeared. Huff! Huff! We finally killed it. Although they had wasted the Soul Eater's brain after killing the evil demon, it was all worth it. Not only did Yi Chunfeng find the second key on the evil demon's body, but he also obtained the Void God Weapon Devil's Fork and gave it to Shun Hengu. Senior Torch Dragon, I'll give this evil demon's body to you. After refining its body, you should have a chance to step into the Void God realm. Yi Chunfeng kept the evil demon's body in the universe realm and gave it to Torch Dragon, who had cultivated to the level 5 Dao ancestor realm. In the battle with the evil demon, Yi Chen Feng, the demon god, and the phoenix god were all severely injured, especially the demon god, whose body was destroyed by the evil demon again and again. He had severely overdrawn his undying bloodline and needed to recuperate for a period of time. Yi Chen Feng also intended to speed up the fusion of the Red Sword Soul and the Ancestral Sword Soul. He decided to cultivate in the universe realm for a few days with a 50-fold time flow. Time passed day by day. 3 days in the outside world was 150 days in the universe realm. In these 150 days, the Ancestral Sword Soul and the Red Sword Soul successfully fused together and completed a qualitative transformation. A red light appeared on the surface of the new Sword Soul. The power of the Sword Soul also broke through the limit of the ancestral weapon and reached the Void God weapon level. Linger, take me to the 3rd mausoleum. After recovering from his injuries, Yi Chen Feng left the universe realm on his own and followed Mu Linger out of the evil demon mausoleum for the 3rd mausoleum. But this time, they were unlucky. They found 2 mausoleums in a row, but both were opened by the ancients to find nothing inside. There were no coffins or keys. Just as they were carefully traversing through the death graveyard, they arrived at the 5th mausoleum. In the 5th mausoleum, they could feel the aura of 2 empty gods. One of them was a late, empty god, realm demonic god. Chapter 2046. Shocking Heaven Devil God. There's another void spirit demon in the tomb. Yi Chen Feng released his powerful soul force into the tomb and sensed shocking Heaven Devil God's presence. Other than the heaven-shaking demonic god, he also sensed a mid-stage nihility god expert. Other than that, Yi Chen Feng didn't sense anyone else. As for the Supreme Divine Heaven and Supreme Emperor Heaven that he was worried about, they weren't in the tomb. Extraterritorial Divine Stone Seal. With a thought, Yi Chen Feng summoned the enormous extraterritorial Divine Stone to seal the entrance of the tomb. Then he entered the tomb with Mu Linger. At this moment, the demon god and the foe god of the demon race were fighting fiercely with a divine beast the size of a mountain. The divine beast had rough skin and thick flesh. Its 4 limbs were like pillars supporting the sky. It flapped its 4 wings and had 4 thick and long arms. Damn it! How can this chaos mythical beast defenses be so strong? Even a void spirit weapon can't break through its defenses. Shocking Heaven Devil God, who was wielding his halberd, realized that his halberd couldn't cut through the chaos mythical beast body at all. The more he fought, the more shocked he became. Meanwhile, the mid-stage Void Spirit Realm expert with the pseudo-Void Spirit weapon couldn't hurt the chaos mythical beast at all. He was hurt by the chaos roar, and his soul trembled in discomfort. Devil Domain, 10,000 Demon Wave. Shocking Heaven Devil God opened up his powerful Devil Domain and created a large number of demon shadows to attack the chaos mythical beast. The mid-stage Void Spirit Realm expert also created 9 killing halos and raised his attack power to the maximum. He held his pseudo-Void Spirit weapon and attacked with all his might. But a chaos mythical beast at the peak of its cultivation was too terrifying. Shocking Heaven Devil God and the mid-stage Void Spirit Realm expert couldn't hurt its body no matter how hard they tried. Since their attacks were ineffective, Shocking Heaven Devil God and a mid-stage Void Spirit Realm expert had no choice but to summon powerful trump cards to attack the chaos mythical beast. Shocking Heaven Devil God and a mid-stage Void Spirit Realm expert had powerful trump cards. Shocking Heaven Devil God even had 9 Demon God avatars. After summoning the 9 Demon God avatars, the chaos mythical beast's attacks were suppressed. The 9 Demon God avatars kept tearing at the chaos mythical beast's body and worsening its injuries. Roar. Primordial chaos, sky-breaking roar. The aggravation of its injuries had completely enraged the chaos divine beast. Its entire body suddenly swelled, and it opened its bloody mouth to let out a deafening roar. It was as if it wanted to shatter space, and it bombarded the bodies of the 9 demon gods who were charging at it with shocking demonic chi. Buzz. Demon God Nine's avatar trembled as it endured the roar of the Chaos Divine Beast. A large number of cracks spread across the surface of its body. Demon God Nine and the mid-level virtual god Almighty were shaken to the core by this roar. They were in great pain. Attack quickly, don't give a chance to breathe. The avatars of the 9 demon gods ignored the injuries on their bodies and continued to attack the Chaos Divine Beasts with supreme demonic skills. The 2 demon gods also gritted their teeth and burned their powerful bloodline to increase their battle prowess and attack with all their might. While the 3 celestial fiend gods were fighting the Chaos Beast to the climax, Yi Chenfeng and Mu Linger had retracted their auras and quietly crept closer. A Chaos Divine Beast. This is the tomb of a Chaos Divine Beast. Yi Chenfeng was surprised to see the scene inside the Yin Hall through the cracks in the stone door. He had unexpectedly encountered a full-grown Chaos Divine Beast here. Yi Chenfeng didn't charge him blindly as he watched the fierce battle inside the Yin Hall. Instead, he lay in ambush outside the Yin Hall and waited for an opportunity to strike when both sides were injured. Time trickled by. Very soon, more than half a day had passed. Amidst the fierce battle, the Chaos Divine Beast's injuries continued to worsen. Meanwhile, the avatars of the 9 demon gods were in tatters and could shatter at any moment. Demon God 9 and the mid-level virtual god Almighty were even more injured, especially the mid-level virtual god. His entire body was a bloody mess, and he was barely able to withstand the Chaos Divine Beast attacks. Chaos Mountain Body. The Chaos Divine Beast's enormous body suddenly grew in size until it became a Chaos Divine Beast. With a force of nearly 1 trillion gene, it charged at Demon God 9 and the others. Poof! Although the avatars of the 9 demon gods and Demon God 9 managed to withstand the Chaos Mountain Body's attack with their absolute strength, the mid-level virtual god 9 could not withstand it. He was sent flying by the Chaos Mountain Body's explosive force, and his entire body was almost shattered. Mysterious Dark, leave this to us. Get out and heal yourself. Demon God 9 said through voice transmission as he sensed that the mid-level virtual God 9's injuries were too severe and he could barely hold on any longer. All right, Supreme Elder. I'll be back in 2 hours. The mysterious dark demonic god 9 did not force himself. He immediately consumed 2 precious ancestral pills and flew out of the Yin Hall that was filled with cracks and could collapse at any time. The moment he flew out of the Yin Hall, his sharp senses sensed danger, and his expression changed slightly. Just as he was about to retreat to the Yin Hall, Yi Chenfeng, who had been waiting for an opportunity, launched a fatal attack on him. Godless Sword. Yi Chenfeng flew past with the 2 virtual god swords in his hands. He performed an invincible killing Dao and stabbed the mysterious dark demonic god like a dazzling stream of light. Faced with Yi Chenfeng's fatal attack, the mysterious dark demonic god tried his best to dodge it. However, his injuries were too severe and his body was almost destroyed by the Chaos Divine Beast. His movement speed was greatly affected and he could not dodge the godless sword at all. Swish! The 2 Nihility God swords pierced through his body, and the terrifying Nihility God force instantly poured into his body, piercing 2 bloody holes in his badly mutilated body. Virtual God Sword Soul slash. Then, the Crimson Virtual God Sword Soul flew out of Yi Chenfeng's Spirit Sea. It shone with Dao light and slashed the mysterious dark demonic God Sword Soul's head, crushing his soul and killing him. Who's that? Demon God 9's avatars, who were fighting the Chaos Divine Beast, sensed that the mysterious dark demonic God 9 was killed. He was shocked and immediately distracted. Chaotic hell-shaking break. While the 2 demon gods were distracted, the divine beast of chaos unleashed an earth-shattering attack. Billowing chaotic energy gushed out of its severely injured body and bombarded the 2 demon gods at close range. At this critical moment, the 9 avatars stood in front of Demon God 9 and blocked the chaotic hell-shaking break. Boom! Facing the attack of the primal chaos hell-shaker head-on, The bodies of the 9 fiend gods exploded, while the fiend god was also injured by the powerful counterforce. He crashed heavily into a thick stone pillar, and a large amount of blood spurted out of his mouth. The moment the 9 avatars' bodies exploded, they delivered the final blow to the Chaos Divine Beast. They tore apart the Chaos Divine Beast's mountain-like body and severely injured its soul. Demon God 9's huge body was sent flying. The huge impact caused the entire underworld hall to tremble violently. While Demon God 9 and the Chaos Divine Beast were severely injured, Yi Chunfeng summoned the Phoenix God and Demon God at the entrance of the underworld hall and blocked Demon God 9's escape route. Demon God 9, we meet again. I let you escape last time. This time, I will turn you into ashes. Chapter 2047. Why are you guys here? Looking at the sudden appearance of Yi Chunfeng, the Phoenix God, and the evil god, frightening demonic god's heart sank. He did not expect to meet Yi Chunfeng and the others at this juncture. He was heavily injured and had lost his greatest reliance and many of his trump cards. The demonic god knew that he was no match for Yi Chunfeng and the others. Why are you scared? Phoenix God looked at him angrily and said, "When you killed my Phoenix race, you should have known this day would come. Don't be so arrogant. Taishan leader and Taihuang leader are nearby. Even if you kill me, you will not leave this place alive." Shocking Demon God knew he could not escape. He did not beg for mercy. He quickly swallowed a large amount of ancestor pills to suppress his injuries. Roar, 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 roar. While they were talking, the Chaos God beast that had been hit by the 9 demon god avatars flew over. It roared angrily at Yi Chunfeng and the others. Chaos, come out now. Yi Chunfeng asked Shun Hengu to give the original heart stone to the Chaos God beast. He summoned it from the universe mirror to block the attack of the complete Chaos God beast. The 2 Chaos gods stared at each other. They were both shocked. Chaos. There is chaos in this universe. When the divine beast of chaos saw Hun Dun, its round eyes revealed a trace of excitement. It had not expected to see its own clansman on its deathbed. Chaos was also excited. Since its parents had died, this was the first time it had seen a Chaos God beast. Phoenix God, evil God, kill, shocking demon God now. While the 2 Chaos God beasts were stunned, Yi Chunfeng and the other 2 attacked shocking demon God. They wanted to kill him quickly. Blood pulse life burn. With his life hanging by a thread, the heaven-shaking demonic god burned his life force and bloodline energy at all costs, forcefully suppressing his injuries. Then he held his heaven-shaking halberd and started an intense battle with Yi Chunfeng and the other 2. Although shocking demonic god was terrifyingly powerful and was known as the 3rd most powerful expert of the demonic clan, the Phoenix God and Evil God were both at the late stage of the Nihility God realm and were not weaker than him. With the addition of Yi Chunfeng, who was wielding 2 Void God swords, the demonic god's attack was instantly suppressed and forced to retreat. While Yi Chunfeng and the other 2 worked together to kill the demonic god, the 2 Chaos Divine beasts communicated with each other using their divine thoughts. As they conversed, the hostility in the eyes of the high-level Chaos Divine beast became weaker and weaker. Junior, I can still see you before I die. The heavens have treated me well. Let me give you a great opportunity before I die. The divine beast of grand completion said with a determined look in its eyes. No, old ancestor, you won't die. I will definitely save you and let you be reborn. Hun Dun shook his head vigorously and said, "It's useless." The great success chaotic divine beast shook his head and said, "My life has come to an end. Unless it is a god, no one can save me. All right, let's not talk anymore. I will merge all the blood in my body into your body to stimulate your potential and help you step into empty god realm." With that, the great success chaotic divine beast restrained Hun Dun and performed the secret super skill of the chaotic tribe to merge all the blood in his body into Hun Dun's body. "No, old ancestor, I don't want your blood." Hun Dun resisted. However, the great success chaotic divine beast was unmoved. He continued to merge the most powerful chaotic blood into Hun Dun's body to stimulate his potential and increase his strength rapidly. As a large amount of blood was lost, the great success chaotic divine beast's huge body started to wither and his strength became weaker. As for Hundun, who had merged a large amount of chaotic blood, he stepped into half-step to empty God realm and tried to break through to empty God realm. Out of the corner of his eye, Yi Chunfeng noticed what the great success chaotic divine beast was doing. He was completely relieved. He activated the invincible sword body and merged it with the sword territory to attack the demonic god with all his might. As the divine sword engulfed the heavens and the myriad origin sword slashed down at the same time, the demonic god was sent flying by the two void god swords. Two deep sword wounds were left on his body, almost splitting his body apart. Yi Chunfeng sent the demonic god flying with one strike. The demon emperor divine bell and the 100 evil weapons landed at the same time, bombarding the demonic god's body. They continued to worsen his injuries and turned his powerful demonic god's body into a bloody mess. Just as the heavily injured demonic god was about to be killed by Yi Chunfeng and the other two, Yi Chunfeng suddenly felt the extraterritorial divine stone in his tomb tremble. An extremely powerful expert was attacking the extraterritorial divine stone with all his might. Supreme Emperor Heaven. Through the imprint on the extraterritorial divine stone, Yi Chunfeng could sense that the one attacking the extraterritorial divine stone was Supreme Emperor Heaven. Phoenix God, evil god, Supreme Emperor Heaven is here. Let's kill the demonic god with all our might. Yi Chunfeng immediately transmitted the news of Supreme Emperor Heaven's appearance to Phoenix God and Evil God. He continuously increased his attack power and attacked the demonic god with all his might. At this time, Hundun had merged with all the bloodline power of the Chaos Divine Beast and broke through to the low-level Void God realm. Under the transformation of the Chaos Divine Beast's bloodline, his physical body had undergone a qualitative leap. His physical strength had reached 6 trillion gene, far surpassing Yi Chunfeng's. Junior, I'll give you this key in this Chaos Divine Axe. I hope your fate won't be as tragic as mine. I also hope that one day, your cultivation will reach the pinnacle of the universe and restore the glory of my Hundun clan. The Chaos Divine Beast, who had almost merged all of his bloodline with Hundun's body, said weakly, Patriarch, don't worry. I swear I will restore the glory of my Hundun clan. Hundun turned into his human form and respectfully kowtowed 3 times to the Chaos Divine Beast who was about to die. All right, I believe you. The Chaos Divine Beast revealed a rare smile. Boom! Suddenly, there was a deafening explosion outside the mausoleum. The extraterritorial divine stone couldn't withstand Supreme Emperor Heaven's attack and shattered. Hearing the explosion, the demonic god, whose life was hanging by a thread, saw the hope of survival. He continued to burn his life force at all costs, resisting Yi Chunfeng and the other two's attacks with all his might. Jing Tian, it's useless no matter who comes. You will die without a doubt. Phoenix God suddenly activated a powerful nirvana power and attacked the demonic god. At this moment, Yi Chunfeng and the evil god also used their fiercest killing moves to attack the demonic god. In an instant, the space in front of the demonic god started to churn violently. The terrifying power seemed to want to destroy the entire space and engulf him directly. Boom, boom, boom. Facing Yi Chunfeng and the other two's strongest attacks, the demonic god's defense immediately shattered. The terrifying attack directly shattered half of his body, causing him to fall to the ground and spurt blood. Primal Chaos Divine would devour, just as the demonic god was using the powerful life force to forcefully repair his broken body. Yi Chunfeng summoned his primal chaos law idol and controlled it to transform into a towering primal chaos divine wood. Tens of thousands of 5-colored roots extended and took root in the demonic god's body, frantically devouring him. No! Facing the devouring of the primal chaos divine wood, the demonic god screamed in fear. He circulated his powerful divine power and struggled with all his might. However, under the suppression of Phoenix God and Evil God, The demonic god's resistance became weaker and weaker. In the end, he was suppressed by the two and allowed to be devoured by the primal chaos divine wood. His body withered more and more. Chapter 2048. Supreme Emperor Clan Head. Save me. The shocking demon god whose body was withering away saw Supreme Emperor Heaven appear at the critical moment and saw a ray of hope. His voice trembled as he pleaded for help. Die! Supreme Emperor Heaven's eyes flashed with killing intent as unparalleled divine power emanated from his body. It turned into a storm of destruction that swept towards Yi Chunfeng's group to crush them. As the storm of destruction swept over, Yi Chunfeng's group immediately used their strongest attacks to block it. The 4 ethereal god artifacts were activated by the blood they spat out. Boundless divine lights shone from them as the power of the 4 ethereal god artifacts bombarded the tornado of destruction. But Supreme Emperor Heaven's strength was too terrifying, far surpassing the 3 of them. The 3 of them attacked with all their might, but they couldn't break through the storm. Seeing the 3 of them being swept up in the storm of destruction, Yi Chunfeng had the primal chaos divine would fly in front of him. Its primal chaos 5 elements light swayed as it blocked the storm. Primal chaos, hurry and get over here. We have to leave this place as soon as possible. Supreme Emperor Heaven's strength was too terrifying, far surpassing Yi Chunfeng's expectations. He quickly sent the trio into the cosmos realm and activated the teleportation talisman. BZZZ. The talisman emitted large amounts of teleportation energy that wrapped around Yi Chunfeng and sent him out of the Tomb of Chaos to Ba's tomb before Supreme Emperor Heaven could attack. Phew, that was close. Yi Chunfeng exhaled in relief after using the teleportation talisman to escape without a trace. If it wasn't for Tai's talisman, they wouldn't have been able to escape Supreme Emperor Heaven's clutches. Let's go, we have to leave the death graveyard as soon as possible. With the 3 ancient keys in hand, Yi Chunfeng didn't waste any time. He summoned Mu Linger and followed her out of the death graveyard. Door of Light. Outside the death graveyard, Yi Chunfeng and Mu Linger were blocked by an enormous door of light that connected the heavens and the earth. Beneath the door were 16 keyholes. Linger, you were right. A single key can let one person into the inner tomb. Looking at the ancient keyholes, Yi Chunfeng summoned the Phoenix God and gave her a key. The 3 of them inserted the ancient keys into the door of light at the same time. Immediately, a large amount of flowing light emerged from the door of light, enveloping the 3 of them. In the blink of an eye, Yi Chunfeng and the other 2 disappeared outside the door of light and entered the Desolation Tomb. This is a tomb. After entering the desolate inner tomb, Yi Chunfeng immediately saw a huge mausoleum that was even taller than a mountain. It stretched for an unknown number of miles. Outside the mausoleum stood numerous lifelike statues of divine beasts, guarding the huge mausoleum. Could this be Desolate's tomb? Looking at the huge mausoleum before him, Yi Chunfeng felt that the greatest opportunity in the desolate tomb, the treasures left behind by the desolate primordial, were in this huge mausoleum. That's right, this is the main tomb of the desolate primordial tomb. I can feel great-grandfather's aura. Mu Linger opened her eyes. So speaking, Yi Chunfeng and the other 2 quickened their steps until they reached the huge mausoleum door. They wanted to work together to push it open and enter. Yi Chunfeng's arms erupted with nearly 5 trillion kilograms of force. When he pushed the door with all his might, the terrifying power of the rules of the world immediately surged out of the door, shattering the force that surged out of Yi Chunfeng's arms like breaking rotten wood. Yi Chunfeng was directly sent flying. Oh! In the next instant, the statues of divine beasts guarding the main tomb seemed to come to life as they roared at Yi Chunfeng. The terrifying sound waves caused Yi Chunfeng's soul to tremble. If not for the God-Eater brain protecting Yi Chunfeng's soul, his soul might have been torn to shreds by the attacks of so many statues. Big brother Yi, are you all right? Mu Linger's heart clenched at the sight of Yi Chunfeng's pale face bleeding from his 7 orifices. She immediately stepped forward and asked with concern, I'm fine. Yi Chunfeng took a deep breath and wiped away the blood on his face. Linger, do you have a way to open the door? I'll try. Mu Linger lightly walked to the giant mausoleum door and reached out a small, jade-white hand to trace the ancient markings on the door's surface. After the time it took for a stick of incense to burn, Mu Linger opened her eyes and said, "If I don't sense it, then this door contains the laws of the three universes. To open it, we'll either have to surpass the laws of the three universes in attack, or comprehend them. Surpass the laws of the three universes in attack." Yi Chen-feng might have astonishing attack power, but he knew he couldn't break through the laws of the three universes. He could only try to comprehend them. Since that's the case, then the three of us will try to comprehend them. Yi Chen-feng took a deep breath and said, "I hope we can comprehend the laws of the three universes before Supreme Shintian and the rest arrive. Then we can open the door and enter the tomb." After saying that, Yi Chen-feng walked to the huge tomb door and released his powerful soul power into the tomb door. He started to comprehend the three universal laws contained within the tomb door. The God-Eater brain had evolved time and time again, so its comprehension and deduction abilities had reached a terrifying level. However, it still found it difficult to comprehend the laws of the other universes. Mu Linger might have extraordinary comprehension abilities, but it was equally difficult for her to comprehend the laws of the other universes. In order to speed up their comprehension, Yi Chen-feng's group shared their results with their companions without reservation. Very soon, 3 days passed. During these 3 days, Yi Chen-feng and Mu Linger both comprehended the laws of their own universes. However, they couldn't comprehend the laws of the third universe. Although the Phoenix God was powerful, she couldn't help Yi Chen-feng and Mu Linger while comprehending the laws of the third universe. However, she wasn't idle either. Without reservation, she summoned a large number of ancient formation flags and set up a huge ancestral formation outside the main tomb. She wanted to use the ancestral formation's might to obstruct Supreme Shuntian and Supreme Emperor Celestials so that Yi Chen-feng and Mu Linger could have more time to comprehend. Yi Chen-feng and Mu Linger communicated as they comprehended. Very soon, another 2 days passed. Just as Yi Chen-feng and Mu Linger were immersed in comprehending the laws of the third universe, a powerful teleportation force appeared outside the main tomb. Supreme Shintian, dressed in dark golden robes and possessing an unparalleled might, appeared outside the main tomb. Supreme Shantian floated in the air as countless streams of power poured down like a waterfall. Divine light pulsed from his body as his aura seemed capable of crushing mountains and intimidating the 9 heavens and 10 earths. Not good, Changfeng. Supreme Shintian found the key and entered the main tomb. Compared to Supreme Emperor Celestial, Supreme Shintian was even more terrifying. Against him, Yi Chen-feng's group had no way to fight back. "Big Bro Yi, Phoenix God, give me a little more time. I feel like I'm about to comprehend the laws of the third universe." Mu Linger transmitted while bathed in the light of the laws. "All right, we'll do our best to stall for time." Chapter 2049. You're surprising me more and more. I didn't expect you to come here before me and even find the 3 keys. Supreme Shintian looked coldly at Yi Chen-feng and Jian Wushuang as he walked into the ancestral array set up by the Phoenix God. Attack. The moment Supreme Shintian walked into the ancestral array, the Phoenix God activated the ancestral array and controlled a large amount of ancestral light to attack Supreme Shintian. He tried his best to trap him and delay him. You're too naive if you want to hurt me with this ancestral array." Supreme Shantian snorted. The great Tao energy in his body gushed out and turned into rolling waves, shattering the ancestral light. In the next moment, Supreme Shantian took a step forward, and a divine light streaked across the ancestral array, tearing apart the ancestral array set up by the Phoenix God with 30,000 Supreme-grade array flags. Equipment Manipulation Tao. Yi Chen-feng did not hesitate to use the Equipment Manipulation Tao when the ancestral array was torn apart. He activated the divine runes in the 2 Void God artifacts and slashed at Supreme Shintian. I didn't expect an ant like you to be able to activate the strongest attack of the two Void God artifacts. Supreme Shintian's eyes narrowed. An ancient divine tree appeared around him and blocked the strongest attack of the two Void God artifacts. Boom! The ancient divine tree trembled. A large amount of spatial energy shot out from the tree and attacked the two Void God artifacts. It shattered the strongest attack of the two Void God artifacts and broke Yi Chenfeng's ultimate move. Spatial Divine Tree. Yi Chenfeng could sense that the ancient divine tree summoned by Supreme Shintian contained complete spatial Dao intent. It was one of the three great divine trees in the universe, the Spatial Divine Tree. I didn't expect the Spatial Divine Tree to be in the hands of Supreme Shintian. Yi Chenfeng knew the power of the three great divine trees. If the three great divine trees were to grow to the maximum, their power would definitely surpass an ordinary Void God artifact. Destroy. After using the Spatial Divine Tree to block the strongest attack of the Divine Sword Devourer and Universal Origin Sword, Supreme Shintian controlled the Spatial Divine Tree to move. Suddenly, a large amount of spatial energy tore apart the tough space of the Chaos Tomb and swept towards Yi Chenfeng and Jian Wuxuan. Phoenix Nirvana. In the face of the Spatial Divine Wood's attack, the Phoenix God activated its strongest Nirvana power and summoned the Demon Emperor's Divine Bell. At the same time, Yi Chenfeng activated the Unrivaled Sword Physique and executed 3 supreme skills in a row. Boom, boom, boom. Several streams of destructive power collided with each other, and the resulting explosion directly shattered the space within a radius of several miles. Although the attacks unleashed by Yi Chenfeng and the Phoenix God were terrifying, they were unable to withstand the attack of the Spatial Divine Wood and were instantly shattered. Seeing the power of Nirvanic rebirth and the 3 supreme divine abilities being annihilated, Yi Chenfeng and Li Wuqian spared no effort in continuing their attacks. However, the difference in strength between them and the Supreme Divine Heaven was too great. The killing moves they continuously used could only weaken the power of space, but they were unable to break through it. Seeing that the space power was about to shatter Yi Chenfeng and the Phoenix God, Yi Chenfeng suddenly stood in front of the Phoenix God. He crushed the amulet Tai Yi had given him and used the amulet to block the space power's fatal blow. I didn't expect you to have such a treasure on you, but no treasure can save you. Go to hell obediently. Seeing the broken amulet, Supreme Divine Heaven controlled the Spatial Divine Wood to launch a second attack. This time, the power of the attack was even more terrifying. Yi Chenfeng and the Phoenix God had no way of resisting it. Just as Yi Chenfeng took out the God-slaying stone from the Fiend God's treasure vault that could severely injure mid-level Void Gods, Mulinger suddenly opened her eyes as she focused on deriving the 3 universal laws. The power of the 3 universal laws gushed out of her body. Next, she quickly formed complicated hand seals and mobilized the power of the 3 supreme laws to envelop Yi Chenfeng and the Phoenix God, resisting the spatial power that was tearing through space. Supreme Divine Heaven creased his brows slightly and looked towards Mulinger. He was surprised that she could withstand the Spatial Divine Wood's attack. You guys are giving me more and more surprises. Supreme Divine Heaven's deep eyes shone with light as he controlled the Spatial Divine Wood to continue attacking. He was determined to kill Yi Chenfeng's trio. 36 Divine Beast Sculptures attack. The Space Divine Wood grew larger and larger as it swayed with spatial energy. Mulinger controlled the 36 different statues of divine beasts outside the main tomb to attack together. 36 God-beast roars mixed together and turned into a sound wave. It crushed the Space Divine Wood's attack like it was nothing. The remaining power bombarded the Space Divine Wood. The terrifying sound shook the Space Divine Wood violently and forced Supreme Shintian to take a step back. Although Tai Shintian had only taken a step back, his expression had become extremely ugly. As someone who stood at the peak of the Void God realm, he had never been pushed back by anyone before. This made him a little angry. Die. Supreme Divine Heaven punched out. The terrifying fist shattered the incomparably tough space of the main tomb and attacked Yi Chunfeng's trio with unparalleled destructive power. He wanted to smash them into pieces. Oh, whoa. At this moment, the 36 divine beast sculptures let out another roar. Combined with their invincible roars, they shattered Supreme Divine Heaven's punch and forced him back again. 36 divine beast sculptures revive. Mu Linger, who had completely mastered the 3 great cosmos laws, kept making complicated hand seals that condensed into mysterious light talismans that melded into the 36 divine beast sculptures. She activated them all and surrounded Supreme Divine Heaven. Supreme Divine Heaven's strength might be terrifying, but these 36 divine beasts came from different universes. They had all reached the pinnacle of strength when they were alive and were extremely terrifying. Their combined strength gave Supreme Divine Heaven quite a bit of trouble, causing him to be completely surrounded. He couldn't free himself to attack Yi Chunfeng's trio. While the 36 mystical beasts were attacking Supreme Celestial Sect, Mu Linger quickly bit open her finger and pressed it against the giant tomb door. Using her own blood and her grasp of the 3 universal laws, she forced open the door to the main tomb. Die for this god. Feeling a strange power surging out of the main tomb's door, Supreme Shuntian was furious. He held the Space Divine Wood and attacked the 36 divine beasts that were besieging him with all his strength. With a full-force attack, he directly killed 6 extremely terrifying divine beasts and turned them into a bloody mist. But in the next instant, the remaining divine beasts continued to attack him. Once again, he was surrounded and couldn't free himself. Just as Supreme Divine Heaven was becoming more and more enraged, he summoned a black doppelganger to kill the god beasts surrounding him. Suddenly, a large amount of spatial power came from the tomb door, revealing a bottomless black hole. Big Brother Yi, Phoenix God, let's go. When the black hole appeared, Yi Chunfeng's trio didn't hesitate. They rushed into the main tomb before Supreme Divine Heaven could attack, angering Supreme Divine Heaven to the point of madness. Chapter 2050. Hoo-hoo, we've finally entered the main tomb. After entering the Great Desolate's main tomb, Yi Chunfeng let out a long sigh of relief. He said with lingering fear, Linger, do you think the Supreme God Heaven will force their way in? They won't. Mu Linger shook her head. Supreme Celestial Heaven might be strong, but they shouldn't have the strength to break into the main tomb. Then that's good. Yi Chunfeng nodded. Let's go. Let's enter the main tomb and see what kind of fortune the Great Desolation and Great Desolation left behind. So speaking, Yi Chunfeng's trio headed deeper into the main tomb. What a stifling aura. Yi Chunfeng felt stifled as he sensed the power of the main tomb. It was like a mountain was crushing down on his heart, making it hard for him to breathe. As they walked, the 3 of them passed through the pitch-black tunnel and saw an incomparably huge Een Palace appear in front of them. When they walked into the Een Palace, a blinding light pierced into their eyes, causing them to be unable to open their eyes. As they gradually adapted to the strong light in the Een Hall, Yi Chunfeng and the other 2 saw that there were 3 doors of light that were several zhang tall. They were formed by countless white lights. Beyond the doors of light was a boundless starry sky. Other than that, there was nothing else in the Een Hall. Looking at the doors of light in front of them, Yi Chunfeng and the other 2 knew that these 3 doors of light were connected to the inner space of the main tomb. However, they did not blindly enter the doors of light. Instead, they silently sensed for the doors of light that were most suitable for them. Let's choose the one on the left. I can sense the aura of our universe's laws from this door. I can help you guys in my universe. Mu Linger pointed at the door on the left. All right. Yi Chunfeng and the Phoenix God nodded before following Mu Linger through the left door. They entered a mysterious starry sky. The cosmic laws here were completely different from Yi Chunfeng's universe. Yi Chunfeng and the Phoenix God couldn't get used to it, so their strength was greatly affected as well. But as Mu Linger passed on the rules of this universe to Yi Chunfeng and Long Fei, they quickly adapted to the rules and recovered most of their strength. Then they followed Mu Linger into the skies. As they flew, an incomparably huge spatial rift suddenly appeared in front of them, blocking their path. Then, 3 men and 1 woman in battle armor walked out of the spatial rift. Chains of laws coiled around the 4 of them. Each chain weighed hundreds of millions of kilograms, suppressing a part of the world. 9 essences supreme gods. They're the ultimate experts of our world. 9 essences supreme gods. Sensing the aura of rules emanating from the 3 men and 1 woman, Mu Linger immediately guessed their identities and revealed a serious expression. 9 essences supreme god. Linger, how strong is this 9 essences supreme god? Yi Chen-feng didn't know much about Mu Linger's strength, much less the true battle prowess of a 9 essences supremacy. A 9 essences supreme god is equivalent to the void gods of this universe. They stand at the peak of existence, but they have a deeper understanding of the rules, and their battle prowess is even more frightening. Mu Linger explained in detail. But 9 essences supreme gods have weaknesses as well. Their hearts are their weaknesses. As long as we can destroy their hearts, which are filled with 9 essences energy, we can heavily injure or kill them. Hearts. Yi Chen-feng nodded. Linger, you back up a bit. The Phoenix God and I will deal with these 4 9 essences supreme gods. So speaking, Yi Chen-feng combined his 3 trump cards and raised his own battle prowess to the limit. He summoned his 2 void god weapons and faced the 4 9 essences supreme gods with the Phoenix God. As Yi Chen-feng and Long Fei drew near, the 4 9 essences supreme gods erupted with powerful core energy to form 4 divine weapons. The weapons met Yi Chen-feng and Long Fei and began to fight fiercely under the stars. As soon as they exchanged blows, Yi Chen-feng deeply experienced the terror of a 9 essences supreme god. His powerful origin energy far exceeded the divine power in his body. The impact caused his arms to tremble, and he was forced to retreat. The Phoenix God was similarly suppressed by the 2 9 essences sovereigns. The demon emperor's divine bell, which had transformed into the size of a mountain, was sent flying by the combined power of the 2 9 essences sovereigns. So strong. How can 9 essences supreme gods be so strong? Yi Chen-feng felt immense pressure against 2 9 essences supreme gods. His attacks were broken one after another, and even his sword domain couldn't suppress the 2. Time deceleration laws. With his attacks broken, Yi Chen-feng immediately used time deceleration laws to stab at the 2 9 essences supreme gods with a seemingly slow motion. Swish! Although the 2 9 essences supreme gods had terrifying battle prowess, they couldn't grasp the changes in time and were stabbed in the heart by the Myriad Origin Sword. Immediately afterward, Myriad Origin Chi gushed out in an attempt to pierce the 9 essences supreme god's body and his heart. However, not only were the 2 9 essences supreme gods powerful in battle, but their defenses were even more terrifying. The Myriad Origin Sword's full force attack was unable to pierce through their armor and into their bodies. Rumble. Yi Chen-feng gritted his teeth and continued to attack, but the 9 essences supreme god's body erupted with terrifying 5-elemental core energy. It transformed into a giant 5-elemental hand that shook space and crushed toward Yi Chen-feng. Yi Chen-feng was able to block the 5-elemental hand with his 2 void god swords, but he was still wounded by the palm, and large amounts of blood spurted from his mouth. Before Yi Chen-feng had a chance to catch his breath, the other 9 essences supreme god unleashed the power of the Dome of Heaven. It was like a heavenly punishment capable of destroying all things as it slammed into Yi Chen-feng, sending him flying again and shattering his top-grade ancestral armor, the Devil Dragon Battle Armor. Yi Chen-feng was injured by the combined attacks of the 2 9 essences supreme gods. Although the Phoenix God wasn't at a disadvantage due to her absolute strength, it was difficult for her attacks to break through their defenses. Big bro Yi, I'll help you. Mu Linger saw that Yi Chen-feng was in danger and flew over on her rule light. In the next instant, Mu Linger's body became one with the universe's laws and forcefully controlled their power, to bind the two nine essences supreme gods. A good chance. The moment the two nine essences supreme gods were bound by the universal laws, Yi Qinfeng immediately used up all the divine power in his body and unleashed the path of equipment manipulation. He threw out the two void god swords, which were at their strongest, to attack one of the nine essences supreme gods whose mobility was restricted. Rip! Under the strongest attack of the two void god swords, the nine essences supreme god's heart was pierced. A large amount of origin energy exploded in his body, quickly disintegrating his body. Chaos divine would devour. As the nine essences supreme god's body disintegrated, Yi Qinfeng summoned his chaos dharma idol and turned it into a towering chaos divine wood. It took root in the nine essences supreme god's body and furiously devoured its origin energy. What terrifying energy! Yi Qinfeng was connected to the chaos divine wood, so he could sense the chaos divine wood devouring the nine essences supreme god and the rapid transformation of its chaotic energy. A look of pleasant surprise appeared on his face. He had a feeling that if the chaos divine would devoured enough nine essences supreme gods, its dharma idol might be able to break through to the late void spirit realm. Die! The other nine essences supreme god tore through the shackles of rule light as he watched his companion being devoured by the chaos divine wood. He wielded his origin weapon and tried to destroy the chaos divine wood. However, the chaos divine wood was simply too powerful. His attack couldn't harm it in the slightest. Chapter 2051, Chaos Dharma Idol, Return. With Mu Linger's help, they managed to kill one of the nine essences supremes. Yi Qinfeng's pressure was greatly reduced, and he quickly summoned back his Chaos Dharma idol to engage in a fierce battle with the other nine essences' supremacy. Rule bindings. While Yi Qinfeng and the nine essences devolved into a fierce battle, Mu Linger continued to channel the power of rules into chains that wrapped around the nine essences cultivator. One sword without gods. As soon as the nine essences' supremacy was bound, the void god sword spirit melded with a myriad origin sword to amplify its attack power and stab the nine essences' supremacy in the heart. Over 5 trillion caddies of strength, the 4 ancestral Tao diagrams, and the power of the domain erupted at the same time to shatter the nine essences' supremacy's armor and attack his heart. Die for this venerable one. His armor continued to shatter as his heart was attacked by the myriad origin chi. The nine essences' supreme god went berserk as boundless origin energy gushed out of his body, tearing apart the chains of laws as if they were nothing more than rotten wood. Yi Qinfeng, who had been attacking him at close range, was sent flying. 10,000 swords returned to origin. Forcefully stabilizing himself, Yi Qinfeng activated the invincible sword body and transformed it into tens of thousands of invincible divine swords. He continued to attack the nine essences' supreme god's heart, wanting to break through his body and shatter his heart. Firmament origin energy, firmament transformation. With his fatal weakness under constant attack, the nine essences' supremacy activated his strongest firmament origin energy to form a firmament that swept towards Yi Qinfeng. 10,000 swords returned to origin. 10,000 deities, tribulation. Boundless chaos. Yi Qinfeng immediately raised his battle prowess to the maximum in the face of the sky, formed by a nine essences divine sovereign. He continuously used 3 supreme divine abilities to meet the attack, continuously tearing apart the sky that was sweeping towards him. However, the battle prowess of a nine essences supreme god far surpassed Yi Qinfeng's, and the power of the origin source was beyond imagination. Even when Yi Qinfeng used 3 supreme divine abilities at the same time, he still couldn't tear the sky apart. Seeing Yi Qinfeng being swept up by the firmament, Mu Linger made her move again. She controlled the universe's rules to form countless interlocking roots that wrapped around Yi Qinfeng's body to block the firmament's attack. Void Godsword Soul / Inside the dense roots, the God-Eater brain quickly deduced and locked onto the nine essences supreme, God's true body. Then, Yi Chun Feng controlled the void god sword soul to fly out of the roots and slash at the nine essences supreme god's true body. Void god sword's attack, but it couldn't injure the nine essences supremacy. Still, the attack allowed Mu Linger to pinpoint the nine essences supremacy's exact location. Immediately, she controlled the laws of the universe to bind him. The instant the nine essences supreme god was bound, Yi Chun Feng hurled the divine sword, Sky Devourer, at the nine essences supreme god's heart. Then, Yi Chun Feng once again demonstrated the Tao of slaughter, fusing the invincible sword body, the void god sword spirit, and the universal origin sword. He pierced through the divine sword's devouring heaven sword, increasing its power. Chi. Under the overlapping attacks of the two void god swords, the nine essences supreme god's body was pierced through. The unstoppable tip of the devouring sky sword pierced through the heart filled with origin energy, continuously destroying it. I want your life. The nine essences supreme god went crazy from the pain of having his heart pierced through by the divine sword of Devourer. At this time, the divine sword of Devourer erupted with boundless sword intent, directly crushing his heart and igniting the origin energy within it, shattering his body. With his heart shattered, the nine essences supreme god's battle prowess plummeted. He was no longer a threat to Yi Chun Feng. Chaos divine would devour. Yi Chun Feng quickly turned his chaos dharma idol into the chaos godwood, which took root in the nine essences god sovereign's shattered body and began to devour his essence power. Linger quickly helped the phoenix god, while the chaos wood was devouring the nine essences supremacy. Yi Chun Feng had Mu Linger help the phoenix god emperor fend off the enemy. Currently, the battle between the Phoenix God Emperor and the two nine essences supremacies had reached its climax. Scorching Phoenix, celestial flames scorched heaven and earth, while the demon emperor's divine bell glowed with divine light under the Phoenix God's control. The two nine essences supremacies weren't to be outdone, either. They kept using their core abilities to shake the nine heavens and 10 earths as they fought fiercely against the Phoenix God. Despite that, the Phoenix God was still unable to shatter their hearts. Chains of laws bind. Mu Linger approached like a celestial maiden and immediately controlled the universe's core to bind one of the fiercely fighting nine essences supremacies. The Phoenix God understood and activated the power of nirvanic rebirth. Like an unstoppable divine sword, it cut through all obstacles and attacked the chest of the bound nine essences supreme God. Crack! The nine essences supremacy's armor shattered as the Phoenix Nirvana energy stabbed into his body. Ancient bronze sword. As the Phoenix God's Nirvana energy pierced through the nine essences supremacy's body, it summoned the ancient bronze sword it had obtained from killing Ba and hurled it forward. It pierced through the supremacy's heart with unstoppable force. Crack, crack, crack. The nine essences supremacy's body began to crumble as the sword pierced his heart. Meanwhile, the primal chaos divine wood that had devoured the second nine essences supremacy appeared and took root in his body. It furiously devoured his core energy and cut off his life force. Ark, hand over your lives. The deaths of her three companions infuriated the soul, female, nine essences supremacy. She let out a furious howl and activated the universe's core energy to attack the Phoenix God. While the Phoenix God was enduring the attacks, Yi Chun Feng rushed over with his two void spirit swords to help her fend off the nine essences supremacy's ferocious attacks. Yi Chun Feng, the Phoenix God, and Mu Linger worked together to suppress the nine essences supremacy's ferocious attacks and continuously attack her heart. Thanks to Yi Chun Feng and the Phoenix God's relentless attacks, the nine essences supremacy's battle armor shattered, and her heart was pierced through by the void spirit swords. In the end, the primal chaos divine would devour her. 4 primal chaos divine fruits. After devouring the core energy of the 4 nine essences supremacies, the primal chaos divine would have grown even stronger and purer. 4 primal chaos divine fruits had formed within it. Although there weren't many chaos divine fruits, every single one of them contained powerful origin energy. It wasn't something the early chaos divine fruits could compare to. Phoenix God, I'll give you a primal chaos divine fruit. Hurry and refine it to heal your wounds. Yi Feng wasn't stingy. He plucked one of the fruits and gave it to the battered and exhausted Phoenix God. Big bro Yi, primal chaos divine fruits are useless to me, so you don't need to give them to me. Yi Feng plucked a second primal chaos divine fruit and gave it to Mu Linger, who had been of great help to him, but she didn't accept it. All right, then Linger, help stand guard for us. Yi Feng didn't insist. He ate the primal chaos divine fruit in his hand and sat cross-legged in space with the Phoenix God. He quickly refined the core energy within the fruit to heal his wounds and increase his own strength. While Yi Feng and the Phoenix God were recuperating and cultivating under the starry sky, Supreme Emperor Heaven had entered the great desolate tomb and summoned a creation divine weapon that was far stronger than a Void God artifact to help Supreme Emperor Heaven attack the tomb's entrance. Their attacks had reached the limits of the Void God realm, but they couldn't break through the tomb's entrance that sealed the 3 universal laws. This infuriated the two who stood at the peak of the Void God realm. Chapter 2052. Let's go and see what other dangers await us. After a day's worth of refinement, Yi Feng and the Phoenix God had mostly healed their wounds. Their strength was also increasing under the nourishment of the Chaos Divine Fruit. As they flew, the space in front of them suddenly shattered as a towering, scarlet ancient tree burst out of space. Its red canopy swayed in the wind as it blocked their path. Because of its appearance, the temperature of the stars in the sky continued to rise. Scarlet Flame Divine Wood. When Mu Linger saw the Divine Wood blocking their path, she recognized it as one of the 10 great ancient trees of their universe, the Scarlet Divine Wood. It nurtured the highest level of Scarlet Divine Fire. Feng, I'll take this Scarlet Flame Divine Wood. Phoenixes were born from fire, so the Scarlet Flame Divine Wood was a great tonic for the Phoenix God. After refining this Scarlet Flame Divine Wood, the Phoenix God's flames could rise in rank. All right, Yi Feng nodded his head, replying with a pained expression. As he spoke, the Scarlet Flame Divine Wood began to sway, releasing endless flames that swept towards Yi Feng's group. Linger, does this Scarlet Flame Divine Wood have any weaknesses? As Yi Feng and the Phoenix God fought against the Scarlet Flame Divine Wood, they transmitted to Mu Linger in the distance. The Scarlet Flame Divine Wood's weakness lies in its core. Mu Linger transmitted back, then told Yi Feng and the Phoenix God the location of its core. All right, Yi Feng and the Phoenix God used all their strength to attack the heart of the Scarlet Fire Divine Tree. They continuously tore apart the Scarlet Fire Divine Tree and attacked the tree. However, this Divine Fire Scarlet Tree was extremely terrifying. The Divine Fire Scarlet Tree it released was quite a threat to Yi Feng. It continuously melted his defenses and burned his physical body. Chaos Divine Wood, restrain. Unable to defend against the Scarlet Divine Fire's attack, Yi Feng immediately summoned his Chaos Dharma Idol. He controlled his Chaos Dharma Idol to transform into the Chaos Divine Wood and attacked the Scarlet Divine Wood. Although the Scarlet Flame Divine Wood was powerful, there was still a big gap between it and the Chaos Divine Wood. Add to that the fearless Phoenix God's ferocious attacks, and Mu Linger's control of the universe's laws, and the Divine Scarlet Wood was quickly restrained by the Chaos Divine Wood. 10,000 swords returned to origin. Yi Feng's eyes narrowed as he locked onto the core of the flaming divine tree. He instantly activated the invincible sword physique and merged it with the void god sword soul. Tens of thousands of invincible divine swords attacked the core of the flaming divine tree. The divine sword engulfed the heavens, and the myriad origin sword also followed the full force attack of the 10,000 invincible divine swords, piercing through the scarlet flame divine tree's crimson trunk and attacking its heart. Screech, screech, screech. seeing the scarlet flame divine tree's trunk being pierced through by Yi Qinfeng. The phoenix god raised its head and gave a long howl before transforming into its true form. It turned into a streak of red light that tore through the trunk of the scarlet flame divine tree and entered its body, swallowing the core in one gulp. The scarlet flame divine tree was completely enraged by the phoenix god's devouring of its core. It kept channeling the power of the divine wood to attack the phoenix god, hoping to crush it. Chaos divine wood, restrain it with all your might. Sensing that the phoenix god was in danger, Yi Chunfeng controlled the chaos divine wood to restrain the scarlet flames divine wood with all its might. He continuously crushed its incomparably tough roots and dispersed its divine wood power, preventing it from attacking the phoenix god with all its might. Cosmic chains break, bathed in the light of the laws. Mu Linger's hands moved swiftly as she manipulated the power of the universe's laws into snake-like chains. They broke through the scarlet flame divine tree like a hot knife through butter, further sealing it off and protecting the phoenix god. Under the dual protection of the chaos divine wood and Mu Linger, the pressure on the phoenix god was greatly reduced. It channeled the divine power in its body to furiously refine the core of the scarlet flame divine tree. As the core of the flaming red divine tree continued to be refined, the strength of the phoenix god increased rapidly, while the power of the flaming red divine tree continued to decrease. Huge cracks appeared on the tree trunk, and the lush tree crown continued to wither. Around a day later, the phoenix god finished refining the core of the scarlet flame divine tree and shattered it in one fell swoop. Congratulations, phoenix god! Yi Chunfeng revealed a faint smile when he saw that the phoenix god had refined the flaming divine wood core, increasing his strength and the might of the phoenix divine fire. The stronger the phoenix god was, the greater their chances of obtaining the ultimate treasure. Many thanks, Chunfeng Linger. Sensing the changes in its body, the phoenix god revealed a graceful smile as it thanked them from the bottom of its heart. Regardless of whether or not she could obtain the fortune of the primitive wild's tomb, she was satisfied. The phoenix god had never expected to reach the late void spirit realm so quickly, so she was filled with gratitude towards Yi Chunfeng and Mu Linger. She rejoiced at the chance to work with them. Let's go. Let's keep going deeper into the cosmos and see what other fortunes await us. So speaking, Yi Qinfeng's group continued to recover as they flew deeper into the cosmos. Day after day passed. Once they reached the depths of the cosmos, Yi Qinfeng's group was attacked by 6 more Nine Essences Supremes. But as the Phoenix God's strength increased and the trio's teamwork improved, the 9 Essences Supremes were no longer a threat to them. The 3 of them worked together to injure the 9 Essences Supremes so the Chaos Divine could devour them and form Chaos Divine fruits. Slowly, the 3 of them reached the depths of outer space. They discovered a star nest that seemed to be condensed from billions of stars. In the center of the star nest stood a man in black armor. He wielded a black dragon spear and wore black dragon boots. His presence seemed to have fused with outer space. What a terrifying aura! Yi Chunfeng suddenly felt like he was facing Supreme Emperor Heaven as he stared at the man in black armor. His heart was filled with a sense of helplessness. Ling, can you sense this person's true strength? Yi Chunfeng asked in a low voice. The trio didn't approach the black-armored man blindly. This person should be a 4th level 9 Essences Supremacy, equivalent to a peak late void spirit realm expert of your world. Mu Linger closed her eyes and used the laws of the cosmos to peek into the man's true strength. Peak late void spirit realm expert. Yi Chunfeng and the Phoenix God furrowed their brows. The Phoenix God had refined the Scarlet Flame Divine wood core, but was still some distance away from the peak of late void spirit realm. Meanwhile, Yi Chunfeng had used all his trump cards and only reached the peak of mid-void spirit realm. Even with Mu Linger's help, they were still no match for the black-armored man. Ling, do you think the 3 of us have a chance of defeating him if we work together? Yi Chunfeng took a deep breath and transmitted. It'll be difficult, Mu Linger shook her head. A fourth level 9 essences supremacy is already a peak existence in our world. Moreover, I can sense that he's fused with the cosmos and can borrow its power endlessly. Even if the three of us work together, we have no chance of defeating him. Since that's the case, then let's cultivate here for a while. We'll make our move once we've improved our strength. That way, we'll have a better chance of defeating him. Yi Chunfeng decided after some thought. All right. Chapter 2053. Time passed day by day. The Phoenix God ate 2 Chaos Divine Fruits in a row to break through to the late Void Spirit Realm. On the other hand, Yi Chunfeng had refined a Chaos Divine Fruit that contained the Origin Energy. However, he was still unable to break through the bottleneck of his realm and take the final step to enter the Virtual God Realm. Looks like I cultivated too quickly in the beginning and left behind many hidden injuries. It's impossible to break through anytime soon. Since even the Chaos Divine Fruit couldn't help Yi Chunfeng break through, he could only think of other ways to increase his strength. Linger, come with me. We'll hunt down 9 Essences Supremes. Since he couldn't break through his own cultivation, Yi Chunfeng could only think of ways to help the Chaos Dharma Idol break through. If it could break through to late Void Spirit Realm, it'd greatly increase his battle strength. Mu Linger, who had been silently comprehending the universe's laws, opened her eyes and followed Yi Chunfeng away from the meteorite to search for 9 Essences Supremes in space. There were many 9 Essences Supremes hidden in the stars. Yi Chunfeng and Mu Linger flew east for half a day before they were intercepted by 3 9 Essences Supremes. As Mu Linger's comprehension of the universe's laws deepened, her chains of laws grew stronger as well. Bound by the chains, the 9 Essences Supremes couldn't unleash their full strength and were forced into a passive position. Around 3 days later, Yi Chunfeng successfully killed the 3 9 Essences Supremes and had the Chaos Divine would devour them. If things keep going like this, the Chaos Divine should be able to break through after devouring another 10 9 Essences Supremes. Yi Chunfeng could sense that the Chaos Divine Wood's chaos energy had grown stronger after devouring the 3 9 Essences Supremes. His Dharma Idol was getting closer and closer to breaking through to late Void Spirit Realm. He quickly recovered from his injuries and continued to search for 9 Essences Supremes with Mu Linger. Soon enough, a month passed by. During this month, Yi Chunfeng and Mu Linger worked together to kill another 13 9 Essences Hierarchs and condensed 13 Primal Chaos Divine Fruits. Combined with the Primal Chaos Divine Fruits from the Primal Chaos Divine Wood, he now had 21 Primal Chaos Divine Fruits with Origin Energy. It was enough for him to help Fa Tian and the rest enter the Void Spirit Realm. After devouring the 13 9 Essences Gods, the Chaos Godwood completed its final transformation, pushing the Chaos Dharma Idol into the late Void God Realm. Its primitive Tao heart was even stronger than before. Now that the primal Chaos Dharma Idol had broken through, Yi Chunfeng didn't waste any time. He flew back to the meteorite with Mu Linger, only to discover that the Phoenix God was still cultivating. After refining 2 Chaos Divine Fruits, the Phoenix God's strength had clearly increased, and the Phoenix Divine Fire burning on her body was even more powerful, enough to melt a peak ancestral artifact. Yi Chunfeng cultivated as he waited. On the 5th day, the power of the Phoenix God's Phoenix God fire suddenly multiplied. It burned the meteorite beneath her, melting it and distorting the space around it. After refining the 2 Chaos Divine Fruits and the Scarlet Flame Divine Wood core, the Phoenix God had finally reached the late Void God Realm. Let's go. We'll challenge that black-armored man. If we can't beat him with our current strength, then we won't have a chance with the fortune in the main tomb. Yi Chunfeng and the other 2 adjusted themselves to their best condition and flew towards the star nest in the distance. You've finally found the courage to challenge this honorable one. Looking at Yi Chunfeng and the other 2, the black-armored, black dragon spear, 9 Essences Supreme God opened his eyes. He looked like an invincible god of war. His eyes flickered with dazzling light as he looked at Yi Chun-feng and the other two. When he saw the fairy-like Mu Linger dressed in a white robe, his cold eyes flickered with surprise. "Is your surname Chu or Mu?" the black-armored man asked after staring at Mu Linger. "Junior Mu Linger greets Senior." Mu Linger bowed deeply towards the black-armored man. "Mu Linger, so you're a descendant of God." The black-armored man's tone softened. "If you defeat me, not only will each of you receive a treasure as a reward, you can also see the main coffins of Flood and Desolate. If you fail, I'll spare your lives and send you on your way out on account of my status as a descendant of God." "Senior, I have a question for you." Yi Chen-feng never expected Mu Linger to have such a powerful background, so he relied on her status to ask the question. "Speak." The black-armored man shifted his gaze to Yi Chen-feng as he asked in a low voice. "With Senior's strength, why are you trapped here? Just who left behind this tomb?" Yi Chen-feng voiced his doubts. "For her sake, I'll answer your question," the black-armored man said after some thought. "Whether it's me or Flood and Desolate, we're all here of our own free will. The prehistoric tomb is an opportunity left behind by God. You could say it's God's game." God's game. Yi Chen-feng's heart surged with waves. He never expected the prehistoric tomb to be related to God. And this God was clearly not from his own universe, but from another. Thinking back to Mu Linger's words, Yi Chen-feng guessed that the prehistoric tomb might have come from Mu Linger's universe. "Senior, between you and Flood and Desolate, who's stronger and who's weaker?" Yi Chen-feng suppressed his shock and asked. "Flood and Desolate were the strongest in their universe. They should have died after losing the battle for the position of God, but God didn't kill them. Instead, he had them guard the prehistoric tomb. Their strength far surpassed mine," the black-armored man said after some thought. "In other words, the most precious opportunity in the prehistoric tomb has nothing to do with Flood and Desolate, but the treasure left behind by God." Yi Chen-feng's heart suddenly began to pound. If he could obtain the treasure left behind by God, then his chances of fighting for the position of God in this world would be higher than anyone else's. "You have too many questions. You still need to answer many of them yourself. But before that, you need to defeat me first. If you can't even defeat me, how can you talk about challenging Flood and Desolate?" The black-armored man didn't answer Yi Chen-feng's question. "All right, then let's fight." Yi Chen-feng took a deep breath and burned his primordial blood. He merged with the heart of God and the chaos aspect of the late stage of the empty God realm, increasing his strength to the late stage of the empty God realm, which was equivalent to the Phoenix God realm. At the same time, the Phoenix God ignited its powerful Phoenix divine fire and transformed into its strongest battle form. It held the Demon Emperor's divine bell in one hand and the ancient bronze sword in the other, ready to attack the black-armored man at any moment. "Your strength is passable, but you're still a little lacking if you want to defeat me," the black-armored man said coldly. He took a step forward, causing the entire star nest to spin. Millions of stars shone with a blinding white light that illuminated the entire sky. In the next moment, the black-armored man pierced his spear towards Yi Chen-feng and the other two. As the spear pierced out, it instantly merged with the power of millions of stars. The peerless spear light was like a silver dragon as it pierced through Yi Chen-feng and the Phoenix God. Facing this spear, Yi Chen-feng and the Phoenix God felt like they had nowhere to hide. They immediately controlled their respective void God artifacts to defend themselves. However, the power of this spear was too great. It had completely exceeded Yi Chen-feng and the Phoenix God's expectations. Even the 4 void God artifacts couldn't defend against it. Puffed, puffed. Both of them spat out mouthfuls of blood. The black-armored man had only pierced his spear once, but that was enough to injure Yi Chen-feng severely, sending him flying more than 1,000 meters away. Chapter 2054. Strong, too strong. This black-armored man is too strong. After more than a month of cultivation, Yi Chen-feng and the Phoenix God's powers had increased significantly. Their chaotic Dharma power had even broken through to the late stage of the Nihility God realm. However, even when they joined forces, they could not even block a single spear strike from the man in black armor. This made them realize how terrifying the man in black armor was. Big brother Yi, I'll help you. Mu Linger saw that Yi Chun Feng and the Phoenix God were injured and immediately flew above the circling star nest. Chains of laws erupted from her body to break into the nest. Seal. Mu Linger's hands moved swiftly as she made complicated hand seals. Waves of universal law energy poured down to strengthen the chains and seal the circling star nest, cutting off the connection between it and the black-armored man. No wonder you're the descendant of a god. Your methods are heaven-defying. The black-armored man revealed a look of praise after Mu Linger sealed the star nest. He didn't attack her, but kept attacking Yi Chun Feng and the Phoenix God instead. Sword Domain. Divine Flame Domain. The man in black armor attacked. Yi Chun Feng and the Phoenix God opened up their domain powers at the same time and attacked him with all their might. Break. As the two domains approached, the black-armored man immediately stabbed out with his spear. A peerless spear on pierced through the two domains to stab Yi Chun Feng and the Phoenix God. His attacks have weakened. Although the black-armored man's spear had broken through the two domains, Yi Chun Feng could clearly sense that his attacks had weakened. It was obvious that Mu Linger had sealed the entire star nest and cut off his connection to it, greatly reducing his battle prowess. Phoenix Divine Flame. Enduring the backlash of her domain, the Phoenix God spat out scorching Phoenix Divine Flames to meet the attack head-on. She forcibly resisted the remaining power of the black-armored man's spear. Then, under the control of Yi Chun Feng's mind, the Void God Sword Soul slashed down towards the black-armored man. Boom! Just as the Void God Sword Soul was about to strike the black-armored man's head, he suddenly threw out a punch. A terrifying fist light tore through the tough starry sky, shattering the Void God Sword Soul's attack and sending it flying. 10,000 swords returned to origin. One sword godless. 10,000 deities tribulation. Yi Chun Feng stepped forward with his sword and suddenly closed in on the black-armored man. He deduced the 4 ancestral Tao diagrams to the extreme and activated the strongest invincible sword body. He used 3 supreme divine abilities consecutively and attacked the black-armored man's heart at close range. Boom, boom, boom. The instant the 3 supreme abilities landed on the black-armored man's body, a surge of origin energy beyond Yi Chun Feng's imagination erupted from his body. Like a broken dam, it shattered the 3 supreme abilities like crushing dry weeds and smashed into Yi Chun Feng, whose expression changed drastically as he dodged with all his might. Even though Yi Chun Feng was able to evade the essential power unleashed by the black-armored man using the laws of time, he was still wounded by the terrifying residual power. Blood flowed from the corners of his mouth, and a large number of cracks appeared on his Devil Dragon battle armor. Phoenix Nirvana. Now that Yi Chun Feng was injured, the Phoenix God immediately used her last resort. She ignited her bloodline limitlessly and activated the power of Nirvana. An incomparably huge phantom of a phoenix appeared on her body. It burned with endless divine fire and attacked the black-armored man. The black-armored man didn't dodge the Nirvana Fire Phoenix's attack. Instead, he threw out his Black Dragon Spear and defeated the Nirvana Fire Phoenix. Bam! After being attacked by the Black Dragon Spear, the Nirvana Fire Phoenix was immediately shattered. The terrifying spear power passed through the Nirvana Fire Phoenix and attacked the nearby Phoenix God. It broke through her defenses and punctured a bloody hole in her body. Large amounts of blood flowed out uncontrollably. 3,000 God-transforming fists. Seizing the opportunity when the black-armored man threw out his Black Dragon Spear, Yi Chun Feng raised his speed to the extreme and appeared in front of the black-armored man, as if he had teleported. He instantly unleashed the 3,000 God-transforming fists, which swept through the sky like a meteor shower. Not bad, but you're a little weak. The black-armored man took a slight step back and waved his hands in front of him, stirring up powerful origin energy to form an yin-yang Tai Chi diagram that blocked the 3,000 God-transforming fists. Boom, boom, boom. Dense explosions rang out one after another. Each of Yi Qinfeng's 3,000 God-transforming fists contained over 5 trillion kilograms of force, but when they struck the yin-yang Tai Chi diagram, they were unable to break through it. This made Yi Qinfeng more and more fearful. He didn't know how to defeat the black-armored man. Screech, screech. When the black-armored man easily broke through Yi Qinfeng's attack, the Phoenix God launched another attack. She spat out mouthfuls of blood essence into the Demon Emperor's divine bell at all costs, activating the ancient divine patterns in the Demon Emperor's divine bell and smashing it at the black-armored man. The moment the Demon Emperor's divine bell, with awakened divine patterns, smashed down, the Phoenix God poured all her divine power into the ancient green bronze sword and threw it at the black-armored man with all her might. Facing the double attack of the Phoenix God, the black-armored man's expression didn't change. He summoned a black dragon-like spear and thrust it forward with the momentum of the universe, sending the ancient green bronze sword and the Demon Emperor's divine bell flying. The art of equipment manipulation. When the black-armored man broke through the Phoenix God's consecutive attacks, Yi Qinfeng unleashed his strongest attack. He poured all his divine power into the 2 void god swords and slashed at the black-armored man's heart with all his might. With the breakthrough of the chaos aspect, Yi Qinfeng executed the art of equipment manipulation. The 2 void god swords were even more powerful this time. The 2 divine swords broke through the origin light of the black-armored man like a hot knife through butter and pierced his black armor. Kacha! A crisp cracking sound was heard. After receiving the strongest attack of the 2 void god swords, the black-armored man's black armor shattered. The terrifying sword prowess pierced into his body. However, the black-armored man's physical body was equally strong. The terrifying sword prowess couldn't pierce through his body and hit his heart. Not bad, not bad. I didn't expect you to be able to injure me. Looking at the blood flowing out from his body, the black-armored man revealed a trace of admiration. Meanwhile, Yi Qinfeng's heart sank to rock bottom. The art of equipment manipulation was his final trump card, as well as his greatest reliance. But now, he couldn't pierce the black-armored man's heart even after using his trump card. He felt a deep sense of helplessness. Still, he didn't give up, nor did he shrink back. Together with the Phoenix God, he continued to launch fierce attacks. But as time passed, Yi Qinfeng and the Phoenix God's injuries worsened. Meanwhile, the black-armored man grew stronger and stronger as he fought, completely suppressing their injuries. Big Brother Yi, Phoenix God, hurry and come on my side. Just as Yi Qinfeng and the Phoenix God were about to be defeated, Mu Linger's voice reached their ears. Let's go. Thinking of Mu Linger's heaven-defying methods, Yi Qinfeng and the Phoenix God didn't hesitate to dodge the black-armored man's invincible spear on and fly towards the star nest that Mu Linger had set up. Where do you think you're going? As Yi Qinfeng and the Phoenix God fled, the black-armored man's entire body became one with the black dragon spear. Combined with the power of heaven and earth, he stabbed at their backs, hoping to end the battle in one fell swoop. Starry Sky Strike. Seeing Yi Qinfeng and the Phoenix God vanquished by the black-armored man's attack, Mu Linger suddenly stirred up the entire star nest power to unleash a resplendent Starry Sky Strike. Whoosh! Space itself couldn't withstand the attack and was torn apart. Crack, crack, crack. Under the astral strike, the invincible spear strike of the black-armored man was shattered. The terrifying astral path slammed into the black-armored man who couldn't evade, directly shattering the armor on his body, destroying his powerful body like crushing dry weeds and breaking rotten wood. Chapter 2055. God's descendants' methods truly surpass mine. You've won. The heavily injured man said with a sigh as he recovered and used his powerful core energy to create a new set of battle armor. He gave Mu Linger a reverent look before sighing. Since we've won, shouldn't we be rewarded now? Mu Linger's pure face turned pale as she dispelled the chains of laws around the star nest. Her voice was pleasant to the ear. I've been guarding a total of 10 great treasures. Since you've defeated me, each of you can take one. So speaking, The black-armored man opened his mouth and spat out the 10 treasures he'd guarded for countless years. However, they were all sealed by powerful restrictions, making it impossible for Yi Qinfeng's group to see through them. "We can only take one each," Mu Linger asked unhappily. "MHM, these 10 great treasures are no trifling matter. Each one of them can cause huge waves in various universes, so you can only take one." The black-armored man nodded. "All right then, but before we choose, can you let me touch the 10 great treasures?" The pure and lovely Mu Linger didn't force the black-armored man, but scanned the 10 treasures in a row. "Sure." The black-armored man nodded, allowing Mu Linger to reach out and touch the treasures one by one. "All right, can we choose now?" Mu Linger closed her eyes and touched the 10 great treasures one more time before speaking. "Of course," the black-armored man said. "Big Brother Yi, Phoenix God, if you trust me, I'll help you choose your treasures." Mu Linger looked towards Yi Qinfeng and the Phoenix God as she spoke. "All right, then I'll leave it to you." After learning of Mu Linger's identity, Yi Qinfeng was convinced of her skills and nodded. "Big Brother Yi, you pick the third one from the left. Phoenix God, you pick the second one from the right." Mu Linger murmured. "All right." According to Mu Linger's directions, Yi Qinfeng and the Phoenix God each chose their own treasures. Meanwhile, Mu Linger picked the centermost treasure. "Great!" Yi Qinfeng's finger shot out powerful divine energy that pierced through the restrictions. A ball of incomparably pure, dark, gold blood the size of an egg appeared before Yi Qinfeng's eyes. This is primordial blood." Looking at the dark, golden blood in front of him, Yi Qinfeng fell into deep ecstasy. He never expected Mu Linger to pick the strongest primordial blood from his own universe for him. Through the power of the Hongmeng blood, Yi Qinfeng felt that this drop of Hongmeng blood was incomparably pure. It far surpassed the level of the Hongmeng bloodline in his body. If he could refine the primordial blood, he would have the chance to step into the Nihility God realm with the primordial blood. While Yi Phoenix God, the Phoenix God, the Phoenix God, Phoenix God, Mu's head, Mu Linger had picked out a nirvana heart for her. A phoenix needed 9 nirvanas in its life to become the strongest divine phoenix in the world. The Phoenix God had completed 7 nirvanas in countless years. With this nirvana's heart, she could complete the 8th nirvanas and enter the complete void God realm. "Linger, what kind of blood did you pick?" Yi Qinfeng shifted his gaze to Mu Linger and discovered that the treasure she'd chosen was also a drop of blood. But this one was a deep green, so he couldn't tell what it was with his eyesight. "This is my great-grandmother's blood. It's extremely useful to me," Mu Linger said calmly. "Great-grandmother's God?" Yi Qinfeng's pupils shrank as he looked at the dark green drop of blood. He guessed that it had to be the blood of a true god. Looks like a Yulan tomb really does have something to do with the god behind Linger. Yi Qinfeng muttered to himself, rejoicing that he'd rescued Mu Linger from the death cave. Without her, he might have died in the Yulan tomb instead of obtaining so many treasures. "All right, now that you've picked out your treasures, I'll send you to the Yulan Palace. If you can pass the Yulan and Desolate trials, you'll receive their rewards." After saying that, a huge crack appeared in the endless star nest, and a door of light appeared in the crack. "Senior, we'll meet again someday," Mu Linger said sweetly. Then Yi Qinfeng's group of 3 left through the door of light and entered the Yulan Palace in the depths of the main tomb. At the same time, Supreme Emperor Heaven and Supreme God Heaven were still relentlessly attacking the main tomb. Under the assault of the space divine wood and various heaven-defying treasures, the universal laws of nature around the main tomb began to crack. "Explode for me." Supreme Emperor Heaven and Supreme God Heaven didn't hold back at all as they pasted talismans containing powerful destructive energy on the entrance of the main tomb, detonating them all. Boom, boom, boom. Hundreds of talismans powerful enough to kill Void Spirit Realm experts exploded, creating a destructive force that accelerated the rate at which the restrictions were breaking apart. Even the sturdy space began to crack under the impact of the talismans. Divine Body of Slaughter attack. Eye of Slaughter exterminate. As the main tomb door cracked more and more, Supreme God Heaven and Supreme Emperor Heaven summoned the divine body of slaughter and eye of slaughter they'd obtained from a Yulan tomb to attack together. They wanted to break through the main tomb's restrictions in one fell swoop and chase after Yi Qinfeng's group inside. The divine body of slaughter and eye of slaughter's attacks surpassed ordinary void spirit weapons. Moreover, Supreme God Heaven and Supreme Emperor Heaven didn't hold back in their attacks, increasing the rate at which the main tomb's restrictions were breaking apart. However, Supreme God Heaven and Supreme Emperor Heaven's ultimate attacks couldn't surpass the limits of the main tomb's restrictions. Although they could tear through the main tomb's restrictions, they couldn't break through them in one fell swoop. Gradually, Supreme God Heaven and Supreme Emperor Heaven began to feel tired from their relentless attacks. The main tomb's restrictions that they'd been tearing apart started to heal rapidly, causing their faces to turn gloomy. If they allowed the main tomb's restrictions to heal, they were afraid that they wouldn't be able to break through the restrictions and enter the main tomb. Supreme God Heaven and Supreme Emperor Heaven looked at each other. Suddenly, a large amount of Tao light gushed out of their bodies, enveloping the entire space. No one could see what was happening within the Tao light. In the next moment, Supreme God Heaven and Supreme Emperor Heaven grabbed each other's hands tightly and fused their powers together, forming an illusory human figure that seemed to be formed by endless energy. Following that, the illusory human figure pointed a dark golden finger at the main tomb's restrictions that were healing continuously. Ka. The main tomb's restrictions trembled violently under the attack of the illusory human figure's dark golden finger. The powerful restrictions were breaking apart at an extremely fast speed. In the end, the main tomb's restrictions that contained the three universal laws were shattered by the terrifying dark golden finger. Phew, let's go. We'll chase after the three of them. We can't let them obtain the opportunities in the Yulan tomb. Chapter 2056. River. There's a river in front. After entering the great Desolation Palace, the Phoenix god saw from afar an incomparably wide river that flowed slowly like a white dragon. That's not a river, but a dragon vein. Like a fairy, Mulinger murmured, Big Brother Yi, Phoenix god, can we cultivate in the dragon vein for a while? I want to refine this drop of blood before entering the great Desolate Palace. All right. I also want to refine the primordial blood before challenging Desolate. Yi Qinfeng nodded. After seeing the black-armored man's strength, Yi Qinfeng felt that he was not strong enough. He wanted to refine the primordial blood and break through to the Void God realm before challenging Hong and Desolate. That way, his chances of winning would be higher. Yin Yi Qinfeng and the other two walked into the huge dragon vein. Loud dragon roars resounded from the dragon vein. The sound was so strong that it shook the 9 heavens. Brother Yi, Phoenix god, let's work together to suppress the dragon vein. Sensing the dragon vein going berserk, Mu Linger's hands quickly twisted to form a mass of chains of rules. She broke through the veins and forcefully suppressed them. Yi Qinfeng and the Phoenix god also summoned their own treasures and unleashed their powerful domains to suppress the dragon vein. After being forcefully suppressed by Yi Qinfeng and the other two, a huge dragon shadow appeared in the dragon vein. It opened its bloody mouth and let out a shocking roar at Yi Qinfeng and the other two. Leave this dragon shadow to me. The Phoenix god stared at the 1,000-meter-long dragon shadow with sharp eyes. She transformed into her phoenix form and went up to meet it. She began to fight with the dragon shadow in the air. After refining the scarlet divine fire, the Phoenix god's strength had increased tremendously. With the divine fire of the Phoenix, it continuously launched ferocious attacks at the dragon shadow, suppressing and shattering its attacks. Chains of laws bind. Unable to withstand the Phoenix god's ferocious attacks, Dragon Shadow was forced to retreat again and again. Mu Linger condensed a giant chain of rules that wrapped around the dragon god and bound him in place. Phoenix Sky Strike. The dragon projection was bound by the chains of laws, and the Phoenix god immediately unleashed a lethal attack on it. Scorching divine flames of the phoenix burst forth with the power to incinerate all things, and it shattered the dragon projection with a single blow. The dragon's shadow shattered into a rain of energy that fell from the sky. The restless dragon, Vane, finally calmed down. "Brother Yi, Phoenix God, I'm going to cultivate." After successfully suppressing the dragon Vane, Mu Linger exhorted before controlling large amounts of law energy to seal off the space around her. Then she swallowed the mysterious green blood into her stomach and began to refine it. What power! Although Mu Linger had sealed off the space around her, Yi Chanfeng could still clearly sense a terrifying aura emanating from her body as soon as she swallowed the pill. Is this the power of a god's? Just a single strand of its aura-s. Yi Chanfeng took a deep breath and distanced himself from the cultivating Mu Linger until he was a few thousand meters away. Then he took out the incomparably pure and powerful primordial blood and swallowed it. Bzzzzzzzzzzzzz. After swallowing the primordial blood, Yi Chanfeng felt as if he had swallowed a scorching sun. The surging power of the primordial blood exploded in his body, directly bursting open his incomparably strong physical body. Large amounts of blood flowed out through the pores all over his body. Chaos Dharma Idol, suppress. His body swelled up more and more as his meridians were torn apart by the primordial blood's power. Yi Chanfeng immediately controlled the Chaos Dharma Idol to suppress the blood. Under the suppression of the primal Chaos Dharma Idol, the speed at which the primordial chaos blood released its bloodline power was constantly slowing down. Enduring the immense pain, Yi Chanfeng unleashed all of his potential to refine the bloodline power released by the primordial chaos blood. While Yi Chanfeng and Mu Linger were both cultivating, the Phoenix God began to cultivate as well. Screech, screech, screech. After consuming the incomparably powerful Nirvana heart, a fiery light soared into the sky and dyed the dark space crimson red. Then, attracted by the Phoenix God's body, waves of dragon vein power began to surge into her body. When the Phoenix God had absorbed enough of the dragon vein's power, her entire body exploded into a ball of blazing phoenix divine fire. Within the phoenix divine fire, a beating nirvana heart continued to release powerful energy into the Phoenix God's corpse. It transformed the Phoenix God's body and sped up her 8th nirvana. Time passed day by day. While Yi Chunfeng's group of 3 were cultivating outside the great Desolation Palace, Supreme God Heaven and Supreme Emperor Heaven relied on their absolute strength to break into the universe's starry skies. They were constantly killing enemies in their way as they flew towards the ends of space. However, the universe was too vast. Moreover, they didn't have a deep understanding of the universe's rules, so they couldn't find the exit. As time passed, the 2 of them gradually lost their patience and began to split up. The Great Desolation Palace was heavily sealed off by the Celestial and Demon clans, not giving Yi Chunfeng's group a chance to leave with the treasures. Very soon, a month passed. Suddenly, the Nirvana heart that was bathed in divine fire shattered and merged with the blazing divine fire. In the next moment, the divine fire burned brighter and brighter. Phoenix cries could be heard from within the divine fire. Slowly, an incomparably huge phantom of a phoenix appeared within the divine flame. The surging power of the dragon bloodline also fused into the phantom in a frenzy, accelerating the formation of the phantom. Finally, an incomparably huge divine phoenix that emitted a sacred light appeared within the dragon vein. Screech! A high-pitched phoenix cry reverberated throughout the 9 heavens. The Phoenix God had merged with the Nirvana heart and devoured the vast dragon vein power. She had completed a qualitative transformation and transformed into a powerful divine phoenix. She had surpassed the late-stage Nihility God realm and stepped into the Great Perfection Nihility God realm. However, the Great Perfection Nihility God realm wasn't the limit of the Nihility God realm. After that, there was still the Peak Nihility God realm and the Extreme Nihility God realm. However, with the Phoenix God's current strength, she had the strength to fight against Supreme Emperor Heaven or Supreme God Heaven. The Phoenix God controlled the sacred fire to transform into a robe. She sat cross-legged in the dragon vein and continued to cultivate and consolidate her realm. Just as she was consolidating her realm, she was suddenly awakened by a powerful wave of divine power. After refining a large amount of Hongmeng blood, the level of Hongmeng blood in Yi Qinfeng's body had increased by 2 grades. He had almost reached the pinnacle of Hongmeng blood. With the help of the powerful Hongmeng blood, he had broken through the bottleneck of his realm and stepped into the Nihility God realm. Under the enhancement of the Hongmeng blood, his physical strength had reached a terrifying 3 trillion gene. Buzz, buzz, buzz. The moment Yi Qinfeng stepped into the Nihility God realm, a large number of anomalies appeared in the sky. The power of rules surged towards Yi Qinfeng and turned into invincible divine swords that attacked Yi Qinfeng continuously. They wanted to destroy Yi Qinfeng, who possessed the Hongmeng blood and whose strength had exceeded his realm by too much. However, the Hongmeng blood had transformed Yi Qinfeng too thoroughly. Not only was his physical body comparable to a Nihility God weapon, but his strength had also increased by more than 100 times. Faced with the divine swords formed by the power of rules, Yi Qinfeng didn't dodge. He allowed the swords to attack his body as he madly devoured the power of the dragon vein to consolidate his realm. About 3 days later, a sword arm that seemed to be able to pierce through the cosmos erupted from Yi Qinfeng's body. It tore apart the cloud of laws that had gathered above his head. Not long after Yi Qinfeng broke through to the low-level Nihility God realm, Mu Linger had refined a mysterious green blood as well. Although Mu Linger's strength hadn't improved after refining the blood, her aura had become even more otherworldly. Yi Qinfeng and the Phoenix God both felt that the one who had gained the most from this cultivation session wasn't them or the Phoenix God, but Mu Linger. Chapter 2057. Let's go. We're entering the Great Desolation Hall. Mu Linger opened her eyes and walked to Yi Qinfeng's side like a celestial maiden. As she walked, large amounts of law energy surged towards Mu Linger, creating all sorts of illusions around her that made her look even more otherworldly. Linger, what cultivation level have you reached now? Yi Qinfeng was curious about Mu Linger's current strength and asked softly. Big brother Yi, my cultivation level is rather special. But after refining great-grandmother's blood, I've awakened a sliver of my bloodline power. My control over the laws has improved, so I should be able to help you guys defeat the Great Desolation Hall. Mu Linger said in a clear voice. The 3 of them left the dragon vein and arrived at the Great Desolation Palace. It was several dozen meters tall like a mountain. It was engraved with ancient runes and embedded with 2 ferocious lion heads. Immediately, they felt a pressure that could topple mountains and overturn seas surge towards them through the palace doors. This aura was strong enough to crush even a peak ancestor realm cultivator into mincemeat, but it posed no threat to Yi Qinfeng's group. Withstanding the horrifying pressure, Yi Qinfeng's arms exploded with more than 3 trillion kilograms of strength. He forcefully pushed the palace door, which was hundreds of feet long. The powerful strength continuously tore open the restrictions on the palace door, and the hundreds of millions of kilograms heavy door was slowly pushed open. Let's go. We're entering the Great Desolation Hall. Yi Qinfeng's group walked into the most mysterious Great Desolation Hall of the Great Desolation Tomb to challenge its master, the Great Desolation Hall. Great Desolation. Inside the Great Desolation Hall, Yi Qinfeng saw 2 men at least 6 zhang tall sitting in the center. Their bodies were covered in the light of laws, making them seem like lofty mountains. They gave off an air of supremacy and invincibility. They should be the Great Desolation Hall. Mu Linger glanced at the 2 men with their eyes shut before shifting her gaze to a lifelike statue in the center of the Great Desolate Hall. Linger, is there something wrong with that statue? Yi Qinfeng asked when he saw Mu Linger staring at the statue of a valiant man. He tried to sense the statue repeatedly, but couldn't find anything special about it. That's my great-grandfather's sculpture. Mu Linger's beautiful eyes flickered with emotions as she slowly walked over to the statue. Great-grandfather Ling is slow-witted. It took me so long to get here, but don't worry, Ling will definitely pass the test. Mu Linger gently stroked the statue, her eyes filled with nostalgia as she muttered to herself. Ling, this great desolate tomb couldn't have been left behind by her great-grandfather, right? Hearing Mu Linger's words and connecting the dots to her identity, Yi Chenfeng suddenly had a bold guess. No, the wilderness tomb wasn't created by my great-grandfather, but there's a destiny left behind by him here. If I can pass the wilderness tomb's test, then I can obtain my great-grandfather's destiny and return to our universe. Mu Linger shook her head. Ling, do you think we have a chance of defeating Desolate? Although the three of them had obtained a rare opportunity in the Desolate tomb, and their strength had increased tremendously, the difference in strength between each stage of the virtual god realm was huge. Furthermore, there were two of them, Desolate and Desolate. Yi Chenfeng felt that the chances of him passing Desolate and Desolate's test were very slim. Yes, I believe we can definitely defeat Desolate and Desolate. Mu Linger took a deep breath as she spoke resolutely. Since you're so confident, then let's go challenge Desolate and Desolate. Yi Chenfeng took a deep breath. Wait, big brother Yi, I have a destiny for you guys. See if you can get it. Mu Linger suddenly shouted. What destiny? Yi Chenfeng and the Phoenix God arched their brows as they looked towards Mu Linger. The closer they got to the end, the more precious the destinies in the wilderness tomb were. If they could get their hands on them, they'd be a great help in stabilizing their cultivation in the future. The destiny I'm talking about is in my great-grandfather's statue. Try and see if you can sense it. Mu Linger caressed the statue as she spoke vaguely. All right. Yi Chenfeng and the Phoenix God exchanged glances before coming to the statue's side to lightly touch it. So cold. The instant Yi Chenfeng touched the statue, he felt a wave of cold air enter his body, causing him to tremble. Just what kind of destiny lies within this statue? Yi Chenfeng closed his eyes as he felt the statue's coldness. He controlled the god-devouring brain to rapidly calculate and amplify its powerful soul force as it slowly seeped into the statue. The statue was extremely dense, making it difficult for the god-devouring brain's amplified soul force to penetrate it. Still, Yi Chenfeng wasn't discouraged. He controlled the brain's amplified soul force to slowly seep into the statue. Slowly, his amplified soul power seeped into the statue. Yi Chenfeng sensed a space of nothingness, and within this space, a large number of small white words appeared, flowing slowly. Mnemonic chant. Yi Chenfeng forcibly peeked at the small characters flowing within the statue and discovered that when these small characters combined together, they formed a set of profound chants. This mnemonic chant couldn't have been left behind by God, right? Yi Chenfeng felt that this set of chants was extremely profound. Furthermore, each small white character contained a strong law energy. He felt that this set of chants was not simple. He cleared away all distracting thoughts and used the God-Eater brain's powerful memory to forcibly imprint each small white character into the God-Eater brain. Because the power of the laws contained within these small characters was too profound, every time Yi Chenfeng tried to memorize them, he would feel a stabbing pain in his head. However, in order to obtain this unprecedented opportunity, Yi Chenfeng endured the pain and quickly memorized them. He forcibly imprinted the hundreds of thousands of small white characters into the God-Eater's brain. Big brother Yi, did you manage to memorize it? Seeing Yi Chenfeng bleeding from his 7 orifices and his face ashen, Mu Linger took out a pure white handkerchief to gently wipe away the bloodstains on his face. I basically memorized it. Yi Chenfeng let out a long sigh of relief, then opened his tightly shut eyes. Although the Phoenix God was far stronger than Yi Chenfeng, she didn't have the god-devouring brain, so her soul couldn't enter the statue. Thus, she missed out on this unprecedented opportunity. Big brother Yi, try cultivating it. This is a move that my great-grandfather once cultivated. If you can comprehend it, you might be able to use it to defeat Hong and Huang. Mu Linger said. All right. Thinking of Mu Linger's great-grandfather, Yi Chunfeng adjusted his breathing to recover. Then he sat cross-legged on the ground and used the god-devouring brain to quickly deduce and cultivate. Myriad gods extermination, myriad gods tribulation. When Yi Chunfeng put the white characters together in the god-devouring brain, a profound mnemonic chant appeared in his soul sea. Yi Chunfeng quickly skimmed through it and knew the name of the chant. Myriad gods tribulation. The supreme art Yi Chunfeng had comprehended in the Tomb of Slaughter had the same name. Could these two supreme arts have come from the same mnemonic chant? Yi Chunfeng guessed in his heart before clearing away all distracting thoughts to cultivate. As expected, the myriad gods tribulation I comprehended in the Tomb of Slaughter came from the same mnemonic chant. It's just that the one in the statue is more complete and powerful. With a foundation for cultivation, Yi Chunfeng's speed in comprehending the mnemonic chant increased greatly. Rumble. While Yi Chunfeng was studying the mnemonic chant without rest, a huge rumble came from outside the Great Desolation Hall. Supreme God Heaven and Supreme Emperor Heaven had joined forces to break through the cosmos and arrive outside the Great Desolation Hall. Big Brother Yi, those two villains are here. You can't keep cultivating. Let's hurry up and challenge Hong and Huang. As long as we challenge them, they won't have a chance. Mu Linger knew full well how terrifying Supreme God Heaven and Supreme Emperor Heaven were, so she quickly woke up Yi Chunfeng, who was focused on comprehending the myriad gods extermination and myriad gods tribulation moves. Supreme Emperor Heaven, Supreme God Heaven is here. Yi Chunfeng's eyes flew open as he rose to his feet. All right, let's go challenge Hong and Huang. Chapter 2058. Hong, Huang, we want to challenge you. Hurry and wake up. Mu Linger bit her finger and squeezed out 2 drops of essence blood that melted into Hong and Huang's foreheads, waking them up from their slumber. Descendants of God. As soon as Hong and Huang awoke from their slumber, they opened their eyes and looked at Mu Linger. Immediately, they sensed her unusual aura and revealed a strange expression on their faces. Before you challenge us, you must be mentally prepared. If you fail, we'll kill you. Even if you're a descendant of God, you won't be spared. Hong, whose entire body was bursting with explosive muscles and long, black hair draped over his shoulders, spoke up. He gave off an unruly air. We decided to challenge you. Yi Chunfeng and the other 2 said in unison. Then will you challenge one of us, or all of us? The tall and sturdy Hong continued to ask. All of us. Although the 3 of them knew it was much more difficult to challenge both Hong and Huang at the same time, they didn't want to leave Hong and Huang's fortunes to Supreme God Heaven and Supreme Emperor Heaven. Hold on. Suddenly, a deep voice rang out. Supreme God Heaven and Supreme Emperor Heaven pushed open the heavy doors of their tombs and shouted, "We want to challenge you as well." Supreme God Heaven, dressed in dark golden robes and surrounded by Tao intent, said loudly, "You're too late. If the 3 of them fail, you can't continue." The giant Huang said emotionlessly as he glanced at the 2 from Supreme God Heaven. Then what if I kill all 3 of them? Supreme God Heaven said domineeringly. The 3 of them have already accepted the challenge. No one is allowed to harm them or die. Huang declared, "Is that so? Then this guy would like to see how you'll protect them." The 2 from Supreme God Heaven had long wanted to kill Yi Chunfeng's group. They suddenly summoned 2 void god weapons and attacked Yi Chunfeng's group, wanting to destroy them in one blow. You're seeking death. Desolation suddenly took a step forward, using his towering body to block Yi Chunfeng and the other 2. He then threw a punch at the 2 people from Supreme Divine Heaven. With a punch, the space in front of Desolation shattered. The terrifying fist light seemed to be able to pierce through the cosmos, shattering the 2 void god artifacts' rays and pushing back the Supreme Divine Heaven and Supreme Emperor Heaven. Nihility, God paramount ability. The 2 people from Supreme Divine Heaven took a deep breath and suppressed the surging blood in their hearts. The way they looked at Huang changed greatly. Supreme Emperor Heaven, Supreme God Heaven, although they were strong, They only had 1 foot in the peak of Nihility God Realm. There was still an insurmountable distance from Nihility God Realm. They could vaguely guess Hong and Desolate's strength, and they couldn't help but reveal a trace of reverence. If you guys continue to be impudent, don't blame us for annihilating you. After forcing the two from Supreme Divine Heaven back with a single punch, Desolation warned in a domineering manner. All right, we'll wait for their challenge. The two from Supreme Divine Heaven quickly communicated with each other. In the end, they gave up on the idea of using their final trump card and didn't attack again. Although Yi Qinfeng and the other two's speed of improvement shocked them, after witnessing Hong and Desolation's strength, they believed that even if Yi Qinfeng and the other two had 3 heads and 6 arms, they wouldn't be able to succeed in the challenge. The 3 of you come with us. Hong glanced at the two from Supreme Divine Heaven coldly and lightly waved his arm. He directly tore open the space and opened a mysterious gate. Remember, once you enter the gate, you can't turn back. If the 3 of you can't defeat the 2 of us, it will be your grave. After saying that, Hong and Desolation stepped into the mysterious gate. Yi Qinfeng, Phoenix, I don't know if I'm really stupid or not. You guys actually have the guts to challenge Nihility God Realm experts. If I were you guys, I would have left after obtaining the treasures of the universe. Supreme Divine Heaven deliberately said as he looked at Yi Qinfeng and the other two from afar. What? Nihility God Realm experts can't be defeated? Yi Qinfeng laughed coldly and didn't back down. Supreme Divine Heaven, I thought you were someone, but now it looks like you're just a coward. People like you have no way of reaching the peak of martial arts. All right, Qinfeng, let's ignore those 2 old dogs. Sooner or later, this god will personally twist off their heads and chop them into mincemeat to feed the pigs. The Phoenix god taunted as he looked at the 2 masterminds behind the scenes who had almost overthrown the demon race. All right, big brother Yi, Phoenix god, let's go. Don't you think it's beneath you to talk to them? Mu Linger added. Although Supreme Divine Heaven and Supreme Emperor Heaven were shrewd, they were still annoyed by Yi Qinfeng and the other two's mockery. But they were apprehensive of Hong and Desolation's strength. Although they hated them to the core, they didn't make a move. Linger, you're right. A dog bites a man, but a man can't have a dog. Yi Qinfeng nodded and slowly walked towards them. Big brother, you're so bad. You're insulting dogs. Mu Linger revealed a sweet smile, none of her nervousness before a great battle. Supreme Emperor, do you think they're holding some trump card we don't know about? Seeing Yi Qinfeng and Mu Linger so relaxed, the gloomy Supreme Divine Heaven caught a whiff of something unusual and asked in a low voice. It's very possible. Supreme Emperor Heaven nodded and said with killing intent. However, even if they really defeat Desolate and obtain the most precious opportunity in the Desolate tomb, they could forget about escaping from our hands. Everything here will belong to us. The starry skies, the endless starry skies. After entering the gate, Yi Qinfeng discovered that the 3 of them were once again under the endless starry skies. Meanwhile, Hong and Desolation were like 2 pillars that supported the heavens as they stared coldly at the 3 of them. Defeat me and obtain our inheritance. The loser dies. Hong summoned a dragon-patterned spear, while Desolation gripped the snake-headed spear as it spoke in a domineering tone. Big brother Yi, Phoenix god, I'll weaken their strength as soon as possible. You guys attack their hearts with all your might. As long as we can shatter them, we'll have a chance at victory. Mu Linger kept trying to control the laws of the universe as she transmitted. All right. Mu Linger was the key to defeating Hong and Desolation. As long as she weakened them, they'd have a chance at victory. Suppression of laws. Mu Linger took a deep breath as her entire body erupted with dazzling light. She merged with the starry skies and forcefully connected with the laws of the universe to suppress Hong and Desolation. As expected of a descendant of a god, her methods are formidable. Sensing that they'd suddenly lost control of the starry skies, Hong and Desolation couldn't help but praise Mu Linger's methods. Phoenix god, I'll be right there. When Yi Qinfeng saw the rolling waves of laws bearing down on Hong and Desolation, He merged with the primordial chaos Dharma idol and God's spirit heart. Then he burned his powerful primordial blood to raise his strength to the peak of the late void spirit realm. At the same time, the god of Phoenix transformed into its most powerful combat form. It unleashed the combat strength of a great void god and attacked Hong in Desolation. Humph. You think you can defeat us with the suppression of the universe's laws? Desolation gave a cold snort as his powerful body erupted with destructive power. He stabbed the snake-headed spear at Yi Chenfeng. Slash! Space was torn apart as a force of more than 10 trillion gene tore through everything. The spear tore through Yi Chenfeng and the Phoenix God's attacks and sent them flying. Chapter 2059. Laws of the Universe. The strongest suppression. Mulinger saw that Yi Chenfeng and the Phoenix God were both injured. Their bodies had completely merged with the cosmos to control the laws of the universe, to suppress Hong and Huang and limit their strength. But even if Mulinger spared no expense in suppressing them, Hong and Huang were still much stronger than Yi Chenfeng and the Phoenix God. Boom! Desolation, who had an invincible physical body, threw out another punch. The terrifying fist aura shattered the entire space. It was like a spatial black hole, swallowing Yi Chenfeng and the Phoenix God, forcing them to dodge with all their might. As Yi Chenfeng and the Phoenix God dodged, Hong spat out an earthen yellow divine flame that burned at Yi Chenfeng and the Phoenix God. After 8 rebirths, the Phoenix God's divine flame had evolved to a terrifying level. But against Hong's earthen yellow flames, it could still sense the difference in levels. As soon as the two met, the Phoenix divine flame was engulfed, unable to block its attack. Could this be the legendary primordial divine flame? The Phoenix God felt an instinctive fear at the sight of the earthen yellow flames burning through space. It retreated thousands of meters with Yi Chenfeng, not daring to get any closer. What do we do, Chenfeng? The primordial divine flame is one of the 3 great divine flames of the universe. It can burn through everything. My Phoenix divine flame can't resist at all. The Phoenix God never expected to lose to Mulinger while Hong and Huang were restrained. It couldn't help but ask for help from Yi Chenfeng. Don't be discouraged. As long as we do our best, we'll definitely have a chance. Yi Chenfeng took a deep breath and activated his unrivaled sword body. Tens of thousands of divine swords slashed into the primordial divine flame and extinguished it. When Yi Chenfeng executed the 10,000 ancestral swords and attacked the desolate divine fire with all his might, Desolation, who had an invincible physical body, suddenly appeared beside Yi Chenfeng and punched him. Crack, crack, crack. Under the attack of the fist, Yi Chenfeng's invincible divine sword was continuously shattered. The terrifying fist light devoured everything as it bombarded Yi Chenfeng. Huang's fist was too sudden. The fist radiance that could devour everything was unimaginably fast, making it impossible for Yi Chenfeng to dodge. He could only continuously use the 3 supreme divine abilities to defend with all his might. However, the difference in strength between Yi Chenfeng and Desolation was too great. The 3 supreme divine abilities he used in succession couldn't withstand Desolation's attack at all. They shattered continuously. He was even sent flying by Desolation's punch. His entire body exploded, turning into a cloud of blood mist. Undying divine ability. With his fleshly body destroyed, Yi Chenfeng immediately used his undying divine technique to repair his body. However, the power of Desolation's punch was enough to destroy a void god artifact. It had damaged his foundation. Even if he had repaired his physical body, his injuries were still severe. Interesting. I didn't expect that with your strength, you would still be alive after taking a punch from me. Seeing Yi Chenfeng heal his body in an instant, Huang spoke coldly, his voice tinged with surprise. Chenfeng, are you all right? The Phoenix God asked anxiously after using all his strength to extinguish the primordial divine flame by Yi Chenfeng's side and saw his ashen face. I'm fine, I can still hold on. Yi Chenfeng's heart was filled with despair, but he didn't show it. Instead, he took a deep breath. Big brother Yi, Phoenix God, hold on for another incense stick of time. At most that'll be enough for me to gather enough energy to heavily injure them. Then you'll have a chance to defeat him. Mu Linger, who'd merged with the stars, transmitted back when she saw Yi Qinfeng's serious injuries. All right. Hearing Mu Linger's transmission, Yi Qinfeng grit his teeth and said, Life Spirit Art, burn 100,000 years of lifespan. After breaking through to the empty God realm, Yi Qinfeng had a lifespan of a few 100,000 years. However, burning 100,000 years of his lifespan in one go had greatly damaged the foundation of his life. However, at this moment, he could no longer care so much. Using the sudden burst of life force, Yi Qinfeng suppressed the injuries on his body and forcefully raised his strength to the complete late empty God realm. Phoenix God, don't fight them head-on. Do your best to stall for time. Yi Qinfeng transmitted to the Phoenix God. All right. The Phoenix God nodded and transformed into her true form. She separated from Yi Qinfeng and dodged Hong and Huang's attacks. After refining the heart of Nirvana and undergoing 8 Nirvanas, the Phoenix God had transformed into a divine phoenix. Her flying speed was even faster than before. As she dodged with all her might, neither Hong's primordial flames nor his power of laws could hurt Yi Qinfeng at all. After Yi Qinfeng's strength increased, his movement speed increased as well. Under the effects of 50x time flow, he kept dodging Huang's invincible fist to stall for time. What's the point of dodging? Huang gave a cold snort and suddenly used the time laws to slow down its entire body. 100x time deceleration. The god-devouring brain, which was rapidly deducing, sensed that Desolate's movement speed had decreased by 100 times in an instant. It immediately smelled a deep sense of danger and retreated quickly. However, it couldn't dodge Desolate's snake-headed spear. Tao of equipment control. At this critical moment, Yi Qinfeng used up all the divine energy in his body to unleash the Tao of equipment control. He activated the 2 void god weapons' strongest attacks and slashed at the snake-headed spear that was piercing through the void and stirring up the power of laws. Buzz buzz. When the 2 void god weapons clashed with the snake-headed spear, the burst of power instantly blocked the fatal attack of the snake-headed spear. Yi Qinfeng seized this opportunity and flew a few thousand meters away from Huang, who had the strength to kill him in an instant. Ka. Huang's arms erupted with billions of gene of strength and strengthened the attack of the snake-headed spear. The spear knocked away the divine sword Devour Heaven and Myriad Origin Sword. Then, it executed 100x time acceleration to attack Yi Qinfeng. When the invincible snake-headed spear pierced over, the starry river lost its color, and the sun and moon lost their light. The tyrannical attack shocked the universe. Desolation's comprehension of time far surpassed Yi Qinfeng's. Facing the attack of the snake-headed spear that was hundreds of times stronger, Yi Qinfeng summoned the Wither Divine Wood of Time from the universe realm. Although the Divine Wood of Time had withered and lost its attacking power, it could still destroy all the time laws, preventing Huang from using the time laws to attack him. Divine Wood of Time. You actually have the Divine Wood of Time. No matter which universe it was, time was the most mysterious existence. Seeing Yi Qinfeng summon the Divine Wood of Time, Huang revealed a look of surprise. Under the protection of the withered Divine Wood of Time, Huang's grasp of the time laws was constantly being countered. Without the time amplitude, Yi Qinfeng dodged all of Huang's attacks. Meanwhile, Huang's attacks couldn't threaten the Phoenix God who was dodging with all its might. Time passed minute by minute. As time went by, Desolate and Desolate gradually lost their patience. They joined hands and continued to attack Yi Qinfeng with destructive power. As for Yi Qinfeng's injuries, they continued to worsen as Hong and Desolate's attacks became more and more ferocious. Just as the two of them were on the verge of collapsing, Mu Linger suddenly opened her eyes. Countless chains of laws furiously fused into her head, forming 2 spears that were hundreds of zhang long that locked onto Hong and Huang. Chapter 2060. Spear of Rules pierced through the great desolate wilderness. Linger used all her strength to hurl out spears made from countless chains at the pair. Bzzz. A deafening hum echoed through the 9 heavens as one spear pierced through the 6 Daos of the 3 realms and dimmed the galaxy. Wherever the 2 spears of laws passed, stars exploded one after another in a dazzling display of colors. Sensing the spears locking onto them, the pair's expressions shifted. Both gave up on attacking Yi Chunfeng to defend themselves with their dragon-patterned spears and snake-headed spears. Crack, crack! The spears of rules clashed against the dragon-patterned spear and snake-headed spear, creating a series of cracking sounds. The terrifying spear of law shattered the 2 divine weapons that were even more powerful than the Void God artifact. In the next instant, Linger's 2 spears exploded with the light of laws. They pierced through the dragon-patterned spear and the snake-headed spear to pierce through Hong and Huang's bodies, piercing through their defenses and stabbing through their hearts. With their hearts pierced, the pair suffered heavy injuries. They lost control of the divine power in their bodies and tore through their meridians, shattering their powerful bodies and causing their strength to plummet. Big Brother Yi, Phoenix God Hong, I'll leave Huang to you guys. Linger's face turned ashen after firing the 2 spears of rules. She seemed to be drained of all strength as she transmitted weakly. All right, Yi Chunfeng and the Phoenix God each cut a chaos divine fruit. As they healed their wounds, they attacked Hong and Desolate, whose hearts had been pierced through. Boom! Yi Chunfeng punched out. His fist, which contained more than 1 trillion gene of force, collided with Desolation's fist, which was the size of a water tank. Instantly, there was an explosive force, causing cracks to appear in the chaotic void. After taking the punch head-on, Yi Chunfeng was pushed back slightly more than 10 meters before he steadied himself. Even Desolation, who had the invincible sound, was pushed back 3 steps. Huang, didn't you have a lot of fun just then? Now, it's my turn to attack. Yi Chunfeng calmed down after forcing Huang back 3 steps with a single punch. He let out an arrogant howl and attacked Huang with his 2 void divine swords. They began to fight fiercely under the stars. With his heart pierced, Huang's battle prowess plummeted until he was only slightly stronger than Yi Chunfeng. Moreover, he had to keep suppressing the runaway divine power in his body. Facing Yi Chunfeng's tide-like attacks, he was forced to retreat step by step. Meanwhile, the Phoenix God and Hong were fighting fiercely as well. However, Hong was even more terrifying than Huang's physical body. Although his battle prowess had plummeted, his control over the power of rules was profound. Primordial chaos, divine fire. He created plenty of trouble for the Phoenix God. Primordial chaos, divine fire melt. Hong ignored his injuries and forcefully flew over. When he clashed with the Phoenix God, he continuously spat out primordial chaos, divine fire, forming a fire pond. He swallowed the Phoenix God in the yellow fire pond and burned the Phoenix God crazily, trying to meld it. Screech, screech, screech. After being attacked by the primordial chaos divine fire, the Phoenix God's burning Phoenix divine fire was instantly suppressed. The scorching energy poured into the Phoenix God's body crazily, melting her body. 8th-stage Nirvana power. Unable to resist the primordial chaos divine fire, the Phoenix God suddenly devoured the primordial chaos divine fire that was burning her body. Then, she activated the powerful 8th-stage Nirvana power, borrowing the power of Nirvana to be reborn. Screech, screech, screech. The Phoenix's Nirvana 9 times would make it invincible in the world, but the Phoenix God's Nirvana 8 times meant that the power contained within its body had almost reached the pinnacle of the Void God realm. The terrifying Nirvana power continuously devoured the Great Desolation Divine Flame, borrowing the enormous power of the Great Desolation Divine Flame to allow the Phoenix God to Nirvana. When the Phoenix God was undergoing Nirvana, Hong ignored his injuries and fused with the powerful Starry Sky Law. He activated the dragon-patterned spear and pierced through the Phoenix God. With his heart pierced, Hong's battle strength was greatly reduced. The power of this spear could not kill the Phoenix God. Screech. Then, a high-pitched phoenix cry resounded. The phoenix god used the 8th stage nirvana power to suppress the primordial chaos, divine fire, and was reborn. She launched a fierce counterattack against Hong, whose expression changed slightly. The 8th stage nirvana power was fully activated, greatly increasing the phoenix god's battle strength. The divine runes in the demon emperor's divine bell were also fully activated at this moment. They suppressed this part of the world, weakening Hong's control over the starry sky law and suppressing his battle strength. The phoenix god borrowed the power of 8 stages of nirvana to gradually suppress Hong. The battle between Yi Chunfeng and Huang's physical body had also reached its climax. Yi Chunfeng intentionally attacked Desolate's heart, aggravating the injury. He had no choice but to divert his attention to defend, causing his battle strength to weaken again and again. 10,000 swords returned to origin. Boundless heavenly Tao, myriad deity, tribulation. While Desolate defended himself with all his might, Yi Chunfeng used 3 supreme skills at the same time to bombard Desolate at close range. Terrifying, unparalleled power tore through Desolate's body and sent him flying. Although Desolate's battle strength was greatly reduced, his body was still terrifying. Yi Chunfeng's lethal attacks couldn't break through his powerful body for the time being. Time passed day by day. Yi Chunfeng, the Phoenix God, and Hong and Desolate's battle lasted for 3 days and 3 nights. As time passed, Hong's injuries worsened, but Yi Chunfeng and the Phoenix God still couldn't defeat him in the end. Still, after 3 days of recuperation, Mu Linger had completely merged with the starry sky. She gradually recovered from her exhaustion as large amounts of law energy poured into her body. Sensing that Mu Linger was gathering more and more energy from the floating Mu Linger, Hong and Huang immediately grew distracted. They wanted to give up on fighting Yi Chunfeng and Mu Linger so they could focus on attacking Mu Linger instead. They didn't want to give her a chance to use her spear of laws. Myriad deity, tribulation. Myriad deity, tribulation. As Desolate tried to break free, Yi Chunfeng seized the chance to use the god-devouring brain's calculations and the never-before-used myriad deity tribulation. With a single strike, an invincible Tao rhythm was unleashed. The terrifying power of God, slaying, was unstoppable. Everything was annihilated and destroyed. Even the starry space was destroyed by this single strike. It was as if the end of the world had arrived and the heaven and earth had turned into chaos. Although Yi Chunfeng possessed the grand mist blood, he felt as if all the god force in his body had been sucked dry after using the god-destroying strike. He was incomparably weak, and even the powerful grand mist blood couldn't recover in a short period of time. No, Desolate didn't expect Yi Chunfeng to unleash such a destructive attack and instinctively tried to dodge. But the deity tribulation attack swallowed up dozens of li of space. Desolate couldn't dodge at all, so he could only defend with all his might. In the blink of an eye, he was annihilated. While Huang was annihilated by the god-slaying technique, Hong managed to break free of the Phoenix God and attack the erratic Mu Linger. Hong, Desolate, do you still want to fight? Hong flew closer. Instead of dodging, Mu Linger revealed her true form. In the instant she appeared, 2 even more terrifying and massive spears of laws appeared above her head, locking onto Hong, as well as Huang, who had just barely broken through the god-vanquishing strike and was heavily injured. Do you admit defeat or not? Mu Linger revealed her domineering side as she looked at the shocked Hong and Huang. She spoke as if she was the most important person in the world. We admit defeat. Chapter 2061. Since you've admitted defeat, then shouldn't you give us the final reward from the prehistoric tomb? Mu Linger revealed a charming smile as she looked at the sullen figures of Hong and Huang. Do you want to challenge the ultimate test? Hong stared at Mu Linger and sighed softly. Is the ultimate test you're talking about the one left behind by my great-grandfather? Mu Linger asked softly. Yes, but if you accept the ultimate test and fail, then you won't get our reward. Hong nodded. You can decide for yourselves how you want to choose. All right, we'll accept the ultimate test, Mu Linger said without hesitation. Yi Chunfeng and the Phoenix God didn't object either, but silently supported Mu Linger's decision. After all, without Mu Linger, they wouldn't have been able to defeat Hong and Huang, much less obtain the treasure they'd been guarding for countless years. Come with us. After that, Hong and Desolation attacked at the same time. They tore a huge hole in the starry sky and brought Yi Qinfeng and the other two to a mysterious space. Supreme Sovereign, it's been almost 4 days. Why isn't the test over yet? Do they really have the strength to face off against Hong and Huang? After waiting patiently for nearly 4 days, the Supreme Shintian realized that the test was still not over. He frowned and said in a low voice, "Impossible. How could they pass Hong and Huang's test with their strength?" Supreme Emperor Shintian knew full well how terrifying Hong and Huang were. He refused to believe that Yi Qinfeng's group had the strength to pass their test. Supreme Sovereign, don't you think there's something strange about the three of them? With their strength, they shouldn't have entered this place. Supreme Shintian said solemnly. Supreme Shintian, you mean there's something wrong with that white-robed girl? She might have something to do with the prehistoric tomb. Supreme Shintian said in a low voice, his eyes flashing with killing intent. Humph. With the two of us guarding this place, it's useless even if they have 3 heads and 6 arms. As soon as they show themselves, this god will destroy them. Supreme Emperor Shintian said viciously. Yes, the opportunity here is ours. Whoever dares to touch, it will be killed without mercy. Supreme Shintian nodded and said with killing intent. While the two from Supreme Shintian waited patiently in the Great Desolation Palace, Yi Qinfeng and the other two entered a mysterious space. In this space, they found another sculpture. This sculpture was exactly the same as the one in the Great Desolation Palace. It was also a handsome man. Great-grandfather. Seeing the lifelike statue before her, Mu Linger immediately walked forward and knelt on the ground to kowtow 3 times. You're finally here. Although you took longer than I expected, you still did it. A deep voice sounded from the sculpture, reverberating in the mysterious space. Linger is slow-witted and has disappointed great-grandfather. Mu Linger said respectfully as she knelt on the ground. No, I have never been disappointed in you. Your great-grandmother's blood flows in your veins. You are destined to be extraordinary. The mysterious voice from the sculpture said, Now, are you ready? If you can pass my test, I will give you the most precious thing I left here. Great-grandfather, can I give this chance to Yi Gij? Mu Linger bit her lip as she looked at the sculpture. Linger, have you thought it through? The things I left here can't be compared to the opportunities in the Great Desolation Tomb. If you can get them, your future path will be much easier. The mysterious voice from the sculpture said with some surprise. Great-grandfather, I've thought it through. Mu Linger nodded and said without hesitation, I want to walk my own path and create a new set of rules. Do you know how difficult the path you've chosen is? It's very possible that you'll end up on a path of no return. The mysterious voice reminded her sternly. Great-grandfather, Ling-Er's made up my mind. I won't regret it. Mu Linger took a deep breath as she spoke resolutely. All right, since you've made up your mind, I won't try to persuade you otherwise. If you really can create new rules, your future achievements will surpass your great-grandmother and become a godly existence. The mysterious voice said gratifyingly, Junior, since Ling-Er has given this chance to you, then come and challenge it. But before you do, I must warn you that if you fail, you'll be killed by me. But if you succeed, you will receive the things I left here. This junior is confident that I'll succeed. Yi Qinfeng didn't waste Mu Linger's good intentions and took a deep breath as he spoke resolutely. Good. I hope Ling didn't choose the wrong person. With that said, the mysterious sculpture shattered, and a huge chessboard appeared in the sculpture. The black and white chess pieces on the chessboard were like chess pieces burning with black and white light. This chessboard, these chess pieces, looking at the giant chessboard before him, Yi Qinfeng suddenly felt like he was facing heaven and earth. His keen senses allowed him to sense the power of all living beings within each chess piece. With heaven and earth as the chessboard and all living beings as the chess pieces, let's play a game of chess. If you can beat me, then you've passed the test. The mysterious voice spoke from the chessboard. All right, Yi Qianfeng nodded. Then he glanced at the endgame on the Go board and said, "This junior will take the white piece first." As he spoke, Yi Qianfeng released a powerful divine power and gathered it into a white chess piece. It landed on the huge chessboard and connected to form a starlight chain. When a white piece landed, Yi Qianfeng's body trembled as large amounts of blood sprayed from his mouth. This Ling, what's so special about this chessboard? The Phoenix God's heart clenched at the sight of Mu Linger's broken body spitting up blood. I don't know either, but great-grandfather's test isn't simple at all. Big brother, Yi needs great willpower, determination, and a certain amount of luck to pass. Mu Linger shook her head. When Yi Qianfeng landed his white piece, a powerful surge of laws appeared in the air to form a black chess piece that fell from the skies into the heaven and earth chessboard. In the next moment, the starlight chain formed by the white chess pieces shattered, and Yi Qianfeng's shattered body turned into a cloud of blood mist. The Phoenix God was stunned by the sight before him. Mu Linger's heart clenched as well. After about 30 breaths of time, the thick blood mist quickly condensed and turned back into Yi Qianfeng's physical body. That's right, Yi Qianfeng might have reformed his body, but his entire body was weak and his aura was weak. Fall! Yi Qianfeng's pale face took a deep breath as he forced a second white chess piece into the heaven and earth chessboard, activating the white pieces on the chessboard. Chapter 2062. What kind of power is this? It actually shattered Yi Qianfeng's body twice. Although he had not known Yi Qianfeng for very long, the Phoenix God had truly treated Yi Qianfeng as a friend. Seeing his body explode twice, he began to worry for Yi Qianfeng. This time, Yi Qianfeng used nearly half the time it took for a stick of incense to repair his shattered body. Ignoring his injuries and weakness, he forcefully placed the third Go piece. When the third Go piece was placed, Yi Qianfeng's shattered body exploded on its own, turning into a bloody mist. After a long time, Yi Qianfeng reconstructed his body, but it was quickly shattered by the black Go piece in the starry sky, turning into a bloody mist. Time flew by, repeating the same cycle. Very soon, 3 months had passed. In these 3 months, Yi Qianfeng's body was shattered again and again, repaired again and again, shattered again and again, repaired again and again. However, as his injuries became more and more serious, the speed at which his body was repaired became slower and slower. The speed at which he condensed the white Go piece also became slower and slower. After 3 days, Yi Qianfeng faintly felt that he could not hold on any longer. However, he relied on his extraordinary willpower to hold on for nearly 100 days. This kind of willpower was greatly admired by the Phoenix God. Junior, although your willpower is commendable, you can't win against me at all. You should just give up. The mysterious voice rang in Yi Qianfeng's ears, stimulating his heart. No, I will definitely win. Yi Qianfeng took a deep breath and placed the 43rd Go piece. When this Go piece was placed, the heaven and earth chessboard shone with endless white light. His weakened body once again cracked, but he did not explode. All right, I'd like to see how long you can last. The black Go piece was placed, changing the situation of the heaven and earth chessboard once again. This gave Yi Qianfeng a huge impact. However, under the terrifying power of the black Go piece, Yi Qianfeng's shattered body miraculously did not explode. This caused the mysterious voice to let out a cry of surprise. While the mysterious voice was still in shock, Yi Qianfeng quickly placed the 44th Go piece. As Yi Qianfeng grasped part of the secrets of the heaven and earth chessboard, his body did not explode again. Instead, the speed at which he placed the Go piece became faster and faster, playing against the black Go piece. After an unknown period of time, the entire heaven and earth chessboard was filled with Go pieces. When Yi Qianfeng placed down his 3001st Go piece, all the white Go pieces on the Go board lit up, shattering the black Go pieces one by one. Junior, you are not bad. You have actually comprehended the Go piece of the heaven and earth chessboard to defeat me. The black chess pieces were all crushed, and a mysterious voice sounded, "I'll fulfill my promise. I'll give you the opportunity, one left here. I hope you won't disappoint me." With that, the heaven and earth chessboard shattered, and a reddish-gold ball of light floated in front of Yi Chenfeng. "This is a ball of God's spirit. It is the God's origin that I refined after killing a god in the Outerverse. I will give it to you now. However, Junior, this God's spirit contains an extremely large amount of energy. With your current strength, forcefully refining it will definitely kill you. Only when you cultivate to the pinnacle of your world will you be able to refine the God spirit and take a step beyond your universe." The mysterious voice solemnly reminded Lu Yin. "Many thanks, Senior." As he looked at the reddish-gold ball of light in front of him, Yi Chenfeng's heart was in turmoil. He had never expected that he would obtain such a rare opportunity. The energy from killing and refining the God spirit had probably surpassed the pinnacle of his own universe. Also, you have defeated Primal and Desolation, so you can obtain these 3 treasures. With that, a slowly beating heart, a perfect and extremely powerful body, and a ball of yellow flames appeared in front of Yi Chenfeng and the other 2. Primal Desolation flames. Phoenixes were born of fire, so the Phoenix god's gaze turned scorching hot at the sight of the Primal Desolation flames. If she could refine the Primal Desolation flames, she might be able to use it to complete an unprecedented 9 nirvanas. All right, although the Primal Desolation flames were powerful, they weren't very attractive to Yi Chenfeng. He nodded and gave the Primal Desolation flames to the Phoenix god. "Linger, which one do you want? The Primal Desolation heart or the Primal Desolation body?" Yi Chenfeng was already very satisfied with the god spirits. Moreover, they had defeated the Primal Desolation flames thanks to Mu Linger. "I don't want either." Mu Linger shook her head. "I'll give both the Yoda heart and body to you, Big Brother Yi. I think you need them more than Linger does." "How can that do?" "You've already given me the god spirits. I can't keep the Primal Desolation heart and the Primal Desolation body for myself." Yi Chenfeng said, "Big Brother Yi, you've forgotten what I told great-grandfather. I want to walk my own path, so the Primal Desolation heart and the Primal Desolation body are useless to me. They'll only be a burden." Mu Linger had a pleasant smile as she looked at Yi Chenfeng. "Big Brother Yi, this is Linger's kind intentions. Just accept it." "Linger, are you leaving this place?" Yi Chenfeng asked reluctantly when he caught sight of the complicated emotions in Mu Linger's eyes. I've already left home for far too long. It's time to go back." Mu Linger nodded, but Linger is still very happy. "I got no Big Brother Yi, Big Sis Phoenix, and so many good friends." "Linger, can you not leave?" Yi Chenfeng suddenly felt his heart grow empty. He was afraid that Mu Linger's departure would be an eternal one. "Big Brother Yi, Big Sis Phoenix, if you could become gods one day, you can cross the universe to find me. And if I can walk my own path, I'll come back to this universe to find you guys." Mu Linger chuckled, but her beautiful eyes were brimming with tears. "Linger, Big Brother Yi promises you that I'll definitely go to your universe to find you." Yi Chenfeng suddenly pulled Mu Linger into his arms and hugged her tightly. He was afraid that the pure and lovely Mu Linger would disappear if he let go. "Big Brother Yi, you're hurting me from hugging me." Mu Linger's fair cheeks flushed with an intoxicating red as she murmured, but her head was pressed tightly against Yi Chenfeng's chest as she slowly closed her eyes. "Big Brother Yi, Big Sis Phoenix, I can feel my great-grandfather's call. I'm going. Take care of yourselves. I believe we'll definitely meet again." After an unknown period of time, Mu Linger suddenly opened her eyes. Her face was red as she struggled out of Yi Chenfeng's embrace. "Definitely, we'll definitely meet again." Yi Chenfeng nodded and gave Mu Linger the withered divine wood of time. Although the divine wood of time had withered away, Yi Chenfeng believed that Mu Linger's great-grandfather and great-grandmother would have a way to revive it. With the power of time, Mu Linger's future path would be easier. "Big Brother Yi, Linger will wait for you." Chapter 2063. Kacha. After Mu Linger left, a crack appeared in the mysterious space, releasing a powerful teleportation force that sent Yi Chunfeng and Mu Linger out of the space and back to the Great Desolation Palace. You're finally out. Sensing the powerful teleportation ripples, Supreme God Sky and Supreme Emperor Sky, who had been guarding for a long time, opened their tightly shut eyes. Seeing Yi Chunfeng and the Phoenix God walk out of the spatial crack, they immediately released a powerful soul power to lock onto them. Supreme God Heaven, Supreme Emperor Heaven, let this God experience your strength today. When enemies met, their eyes turned red. Looking at Supreme Divine Heaven and Supreme Emperor Heaven, the Phoenix God's eyes turned red. He wanted nothing more than to kill these two masterminds and take revenge for the dead Phoenix race. Great Circle of the Void Spirit Realm. The Supreme God Heaven and Supreme Emperor Heaven revealed looks of surprise when they sensed the Phoenix God's strength. They were very clear that the further one cultivated, the more difficult it would become. To cultivate from a mid-void spirit realm to the Great Circle of the Void Spirit Realm not only required countless years, but also great opportunities and extraordinary talent and effort. Phoenix, I don't know what kind of opportunity you've had to break through to the Great Circle of the Void Spirit Realm, but you're still not our match. Supreme God Heaven's gaze grew colder and colder as a terrifying Tao intent sealed off the entire space, preventing Yi Chunfeng and the Phoenix God from leaving. Is that so? The Phoenix God really wanted to know the difference in strength between her and the Supreme God Heaven and Supreme Emperor Heaven after breaking through to the Great Circle of the Void Spirit Realm. She instantly ignited her Phoenix Divine Flames and transformed into her strongest battle form to attack the two of them. The Phoenix God attacked with Blazing Phoenix Divine Fire, and a terrifying eye of massacre appeared on Supreme Emperor Heaven's forehead. Rays of murderous light shot out and attacked the Phoenix God. Demon Emperor's Divine Bell. Just as the killing light was about to hit the Phoenix God, the Demon Emperor's Divine Bell broke out of her body and flickered with mysterious divine light to block the attack. Next, the all-burning Phoenix Divine Fire spewed out of the Phoenix God's body like an angry fire dragon to attack Supreme Emperor Heaven. Supreme Emperor Heavenly Tao, Supreme Heaven Limitless. As the Phoenix God evolved again and again, the Phoenix God Fire became incomparably powerful. Supreme Emperor Heaven didn't dare to let the Phoenix God Fire get close to him. He immediately deduced a powerful Tao intent and formed a limitless power to forcibly block the Phoenix God Fire. Space Shatter. As the Phoenix God and Supreme Emperor Heaven fought intensely, Supreme Emperor Heaven's attack shattered the entire space, forming several large spatial black holes that frantically devoured the Phoenix God Fire. Screech, screech, screech. The Phoenix God Fire was swallowed by the spatial black hole, and its power plummeted. The Phoenix God immediately let out an angry phoenix cry, and instantly transformed into several phoenix phantoms that crashed into the spatial black hole, forcibly shattering the spatial black hole formed by Supreme Immortal Heaven. Will of Heavenly Tao / Supreme Shintian had not expected the Phoenix God's combat strength to increase by so much. With a thought, he summoned the Divine Sky clan's most precious treasure, the Wheel of Heavenly Way, which had reached the pinnacle of Void God artifact. The Wheel of Heavenly Way slashed at the Phoenix God. Boom! Under the attack of the Wheel of Heavenly Tao, the Demon Emperor's Divine Bell, which was shining with divine runes, was sent flying. It was unable to stop the Wheel of Heavenly Tao at all. Nirvana Force. The remaining power of the Wheel of Heavenly Way did not diminish. The Phoenix God activated its powerful Nirvana Force and continuously attacked the Wheel of Heavenly Way. However, the power of the Wheel of Heavenly Way was too terrifying. The Phoenix God's continuous Nirvana Force was unable to withstand it. Seeing the Phoenix God being struck by the Wheel of Heavenly Way, the deity statue standing in the Great Desolate Palace pointed a finger at the Wheel of Heavenly Way without any warning. Ka ka ka. Amidst the cracking sounds, the Wheel of Heavenly Way which had reached the pinnacle of Void God artifact, was sent flying by the stone finger. Supreme Immortal Heaven and Supreme Emperor Heaven raised their brows and looked at the deity statue. Their eyes, which were as deep as the sea, revealed a grave expression. One body with two thoughts. Interesting. When the two of them were staring at the deity statue, a deep voice came from the deity statue and reverberated in the space for a long time. As soon as the deep voice sounded, Supreme Immortal Heaven and Supreme Emperor Heaven's faces changed drastically. They had not expected that the seemingly lifeless deity statue would reveal their secret. I don't want to interfere with the matters of your universe. However, they have inherited everything in the Chaos Tomb. You're not allowed to harm them here. The mysterious voice said, "Now, you can leave." What if we don't leave? Although the mysterious statue made the two from Supreme Divine Heaven feel apprehensive, they would not allow Yi Chun Feng and the Phoenix God to take away the great fortuitous encounter in the Great Desolate Tomb. Don't leave? That's not up to you. With that, the mysterious stone finger pointed again. Although the finger seemed extremely slow, Supreme Immortal Heaven and Supreme Emperor Heaven seemed to have been petrified. They stood motionless on the spot and allowed the finger to hit their bodies. The finger broke through their physical defenses and sent them flying. Time stop. This is the third level of time rule, time stop. There were 3 levels of time rule: time acceleration, time deceleration, and time stop. Time stop was the most profound and difficult to grasp. In the entire Void God realm, no one had grasped time stop, but a deity statue had. This made Yi Chun Feng witness the terror of a deity. PFFF. Supreme Immortal Heaven and Supreme Emperor Heaven spat out 2 mouthfuls of blood and were sent flying. They crashed heavily into the incomparably hard palace wall and suffered heavy injuries. After experiencing the terror of the deity statue, the two of them still did not give up. They looked at each other and fused the energy in their bodies together. They condensed into a stalwart figure shrouded in dark golden light and attacked the deity statue. Summoning the original form, the mysterious deity statue said, "Even if your original form is here, this deity is not afraid, let alone a mere original form." With that, the mysterious deity statue pointed again at the stalwart figure shrouded in dark golden light. The original form let out a piercing sound when the deity statue pointed at it. It mobilized all the energy in its body to resist. The original form's attack far exceeded that of Supreme Immortal Heaven and Supreme Emperor Heaven. Even the Wheel of Heaven path could not compare. The entire space was severely damaged. However, when it bombarded the deity statue's finger, it shattered like glass. It was unable to harm the deity statue in the slightest. With a single finger, the terrifying finger light pierced through the dark golden light like a hot knife through butter. Under the horrified gazes of the two from Supreme Divine Heaven, the finger light shattered the origin form. PFFF. PFFF. The original form was shattered. Supreme Immortal Heaven and Supreme Emperor Heaven both suffered from the original form's attack. A large amount of blood spurted out from their mouths. They were severely injured. I'll give you one last chance. If you don't scram, don't blame this deity for being impolite. The deity statue's voice gradually turned cold. After experiencing the terror of the deity statue, Supreme Immortal Heaven and Supreme Emperor Heaven did not dare to stay for long. They glared at Yi Chun Feng and Supreme Emperor Heaven unwillingly and escaped from the Great Desolate Palace in a sorry state. All right, there are no more opportunities in the Great Desolate Tomb. This place is about to be destroyed. Now, I'll send you off. The mysterious voice said. Senior, before I leave, I want to ask you a question. Were those 2 people just now the same person? What is the original form? Yi Chun Feng asked. You can say that. The mysterious voice said. They're just 2 incarnations. The original form is their true master. Incarnation. Supreme Immortal Heaven and Supreme Emperor Heaven are just incarnations. Not only was Yi Chun Feng dumbfounded, but the Phoenix God was also stunned by this news. Supreme Immortal Heaven and Supreme Emperor Heaven were known as the strongest experts in the Void God realm. However, these two terrifying existences were actually just incarnations. Then, wouldn't their master's strength be exceedingly high? Wouldn't he be invincible? All right, you don't have to be too surprised. In order to become a deity, many people hide their strength until the moment of the battle of gods. However, Junior, you have obtained my spirit of gods. You are destined to be extraordinary. You have already walked ahead of them on the path of battle of gods. Chapter 2064. The Beast King Ridge was one of the forbidden grounds of the Beast Tribe. It was where the ancestors of the Beast Tribe were buried. It was also where the ancestral land of the Beast Tribe was located. It was located in the deepest part of the Beast Tribe. After leaving the Thousand Demons Sea quietly, Yi Chunfeng and the Phoenix God arrived at the Beast King Ridge after traveling for more than 10 days. They had come all the way to the Beast King Ridge because Yi Chunfeng wanted to borrow the power of the ancestral land of the Beast Tribe to refine the primitive body and merge it with his body. He was not going to refine the powerful primitive heart. Instead, he was going to use the primitive heart to make a deal with Tai. Space-swallowing bug, break the seal. When they arrived at the Beast King Ridge, Yi Chunfeng did not break the seal by force. Instead, he summoned the space-swallowing bug and asked it to dig a wormhole outside the Beast King Ridge and enter the Beast King Ridge. After breaking through to the lower empty god realm, Yi Chunfeng's ability to conceal himself had become stronger. With the help of the Mirage Blood, his appearance did not alert the Beast Tribe. Soon, he locked onto the ancestral land of the Beast Tribe with his powerful soul perception and appeared outside the ancestral land. Not bad, not bad. The ancestral land of the Beast Tribe is indeed powerful. It should be enough for me to refine the primitive body. Standing outside the ancestral land of the Beast Tribe, Yi Chunfeng's powerful soul strength penetrated the seal. He could feel that the ancestral land of the Beast Tribe was very powerful, and he smiled faintly. Space-swallowing bug, break the seal. Yi Chunfeng summoned the space-swallowing bug again and asked it to dig a hole in the ancestral land of the Beast Tribe. Who are you? Why have you sneaked into the ancestral land of the Beast Tribe? Just as Yi Chunfeng entered the ancestral land of the Beast Tribe, a deep voice rang in his ears. Indeed, there is a second empty god in the Beast Tribe. Yi Chunfeng's powerful soul strength locked onto the empty god who was guarding the ancestral land of the Beast Tribe. In a flash, he flew over and tore the ancestral land of the Beast Tribe apart. He attacked the empty god who was hiding underground. Nine Gloom devoured the space. Yi Chunfeng didn't want to alarm the Beast Tribe. He didn't want to spread the news, so when he attacked, he summoned the 9 underworlds and directly devoured the entire space. In the next moment, Yi Chunfeng opened up his sword territory and crushed the Beast Virtual God Almighty's demon territory effortlessly. He continued to attack him. Ayo, ayo, ayo. Although the Beast Virtual God had lived for countless years and possessed a powerful demon god body, he could not withstand Yi Chunfeng's intertwined attacks and was forced to retreat. However, all Virtual God Almighties had powerful trump cards. Although Yi Chunfeng's combat strength surpassed that of a Virtual God Beast, he would not be able to defeat or even kill him in a short time. Phoenix God, come out and help me. Yi Chunfeng instantly suppressed the Beast Virtual God's attack so that he could not send a message for help. He summoned the Phoenix God. Phoenix, why are you here? The Phoenix God was known as the top expert of the Beast Tribe. Her appearance greatly shocked the Beast Virtual God, causing him to feel deeply uneasy. Your Beast Tribe has betrayed us and joined the Celestials. It's time to settle the score with you. The Phoenix God coldly snorted. Scorching divine Phoenix fire gushed out of her body and attacked the Beast Virtual God. Although the Beast Virtual God was terrifying, it could not withstand the divine fire of the Phoenix God that had undergone 8 nirvana. Under the attack of the divine fire, the 2 supreme-grade ancestral artifacts he had unleashed melted directly. His physical body was also rapidly melting under the attack of the divine fire. Chaos Dharma Idol, devour! Seeing that the virtual god-beast god was being melted by the terrifying phoenix divine fire, Yi Chunfeng summoned his chaos avatar and devoured the virtual god-beast god, who was howling in pain. The chaos avatar devoured the virtual god-beast god's divine power, sucking it dry and turning it into 3 chaos divine fruits. However, because of the existence of the life token, Yi Chunfeng did not kill him. Instead, he knocked him unconscious and imprisoned him in the 9 underworlds. Phoenix God, let's cultivate here for a while. I don't think Supreme God Heaven and Supreme Emperor Heaven would think that we would dare to appear here. After dealing with the beast virtual god, Yi Chunfeng suggested softly as he glanced at the Phoenix God, who was dressed in a rainbow-colored robe with divine fire all over her body. She looked as elegant as an empress. All right, after refining the great desolation divine fire, I might be able to fight against Supreme God Heaven or Supreme Emperor Heaven head-on. The Phoenix God nodded and directly broke into the depths of the ancestral beast land. She summoned the great desolation divine fire that was several times stronger than the Phoenix divine fire and swallowed it bit by bit. Borrowing the power of the ancestral beast land, she suppressed the great desolation divine fire and rapidly refined it. While the Phoenix God was refining the great desolation divine fire, Yi Chunfeng controlled the 9 underworlds to seal the entire ancestral beast land. He had the space swallower continue to carve a path out of the ancestral beast land. After that, he went to the depths of the ancestral beast land and summoned the great desolation body that contained the great desolation force. He continuously infused the great desolation blood into the great desolation body to nourish it and establish a connection. After 3 days of nourishment, Yi Chunfeng felt that the great desolation blood had completely penetrated the great desolation body's flesh and blood. He tried to borrow the power of the ancestral beast land to forcefully fuse with the great desolation body. However, the great desolation body did not belong to this universe. The great desolation force also surpassed the divine power in Yi Chunfeng's body. Yi Chunfeng borrowed the power of the ancestral beast land and forcefully refined it for 4 days, but he still could not refine it into his body. The sword physique is rejecting the fusion. Feeling the rejection of the great desolation body by the invincible sword physique, Yi Chunfeng's brows tightly knitted together. It seems like the invincible sword physique is inferior to the great desolation body. It is impossible to forcefully fuse the great desolation body into my body. After many fruitless attempts, Yi Chunfeng continued to think of a solution. Perhaps this is the only way. After pondering for a day, Yi Chunfeng could only think of one solution. Although it was extremely dangerous, it was the best solution Yi Chunfeng could think of at the moment. Invincible sword physique, grind the body to pieces. Yi Chunfeng controlled the 9 underworlds to seal the entire space. He then took out a large number of heavenly treasures and suspended them around his body. Following that, he continuously activated the invincible sword physique to grind his own body. A large amount of blood essence burst out and forcefully fused with the great desolation body. In order to obtain the great desolation body, Yi Chunfeng decided to give up on the invincible sword physique. After he had completely refined the great desolation body, he would cultivate the invincible sword physique again. The process of the invincible sword physique grinding his body was extremely painful and risky. However, Yi Chunfeng's heart was as firm as a rock. He was not affected at all. He continued to fuse the exploding blood essence into the great desolation body. In addition to the nourishment of the precious spiritual treasures, Yi Chunfeng managed to overcome the difficulties one after another. Boom, boom. As Yi Chunfeng's 4 limbs and body exploded and fused with the great desolation body, the connection between the great desolation body and Yi Chunfeng became more and more compatible. Chaos aspect fusion. Yi Chunfeng shattered a large number of bones and fused his internal organs, which were branded with mysterious Tao patterns and a source of the virtual God, which was filled with powerful Tao intent, into the great desolation body. Following that, he summoned the chaos aspect fusion and the heart of God and fused them into the great desolation body. Soul host body. The physical body and the great desolation body continued to fuse. Yi Chunfeng controlled all the spiritual treasures of heaven and earth to fuse with the great desolation body. Following that, the God-Eater brain and soul entered the great desolation body as well. He was fusing with the great desolation body thoroughly. Attracted by the great desolation body, the heart of God was endlessly activated. The power of the ancestral bloodline in the walking beast ancestral bloodline gushed into the great desolation body, increasing the speed at which Yi Chunfeng was fusing with the great desolation body. Days passed by. Under the crazy devouring of the Phoenix God and the great desolation body, the walking beast ancestral bloodline continued to wither. The immortal chi in the spiritual mountains became thinner and thinner. This alarmed the walking beast clan sovereign, the ape god, and the other almighty figures of the walking beast clan. They all rushed to the ancestral land to investigate. However, the walking beast ancestral bloodline was shrouded by the 9 underworlds. The ape god and the others couldn't break through the 9 underworlds and enter the ancestral land. Just as the heaven-raising divine ape and the others smelled an unusual aura and were about to ask the Tian clan for help, an unimaginable great desolate aura came out from the ancestral beast vein, suppressing the entire space, causing many of the weaker spirit demon clan S to breathe rapidly, and many of the smaller spirit demons fell to the ground in fear, their faces pale. Great desolation domain formed, great desolation body. A sonorous voice resounded in the withered walking beast ancestral bloodline. After devouring the majority of the walking beast ancestral bloodline, Yi Chunfeng had successfully fused with the great desolation body. Using the powerful great desolation body, he formed an even stronger great desolation domain. Chapter 2065. Who are you? Why are you in my walking beast ancestral vein? The divine ape god sensed a dangerous aura and instantly transformed into its most powerful battle form. It held a void god rod that was several zhang long and covered with ancient divine runes. It weighed billions of jin and bared its sharp fangs. Its demonic aura soared to the heavens. What's wrong, divine ape? Don't you recognize me? After Yi Chunfeng refined the great Desolatian body and regained his true appearance, he stood in the air, looking down at the fiend race powerhouses and the other fiend race powerhouses. Then, he revealed a tyrannical smile. It's you. The heaven-raising divine ape's eyes widened as he recognized Yi Chunfeng. Divine ape, didn't you want to kill me back then? Now, I'll give you the chance. Come and kill me. After refining the great desolate physique, Yi Chunfeng wanted to use the heaven-raising divine ape, who was known for its powerful physical body, to test the terror of the great desolate physique. Seal this place. The heaven-raising divine ape didn't think about why Yi Chunfeng, who was supposed to be chased by the heaven race, would appear in the walking beast Emperor Ridge. However, when he thought about the treasures on him, the heaven-raising divine ape immediately ordered the other demon race experts to summon ancient array flags and seal the entire space, not giving Yi Chunfeng a chance to escape. Yi Chunfeng, I let you escape last time. This time, you won't be able to escape even if you have wings. The divine ape-raising ape let out a roar. Holding the 10 billion gene void god rod in its hand, it smashed towards Yi Chunfeng as if it was swinging a towering mountain. The heaven-raising divine ape unleashed a force of several trillion gene. Yi Chunfeng stepped into the void and didn't dodge, allowing the void god rod to come crashing down. Just as the void god rod was about to hit Yi Chunfeng's head, Yi Chunfeng suddenly raised his right hand and blocked the void god rod. Boom! The heaven-raising divine ape swung the void god rod at Yi Chunfeng's right hand. Not only did it not shatter Yi Chunfeng's arm, but he also felt an unimaginable power pass through the void god rod and into his arm, causing his arm to tremble and blood to spurt out. What kind of physical body is this? The sky-raising godly ape wielding the void god staff was enough to shatter a 10,000-meter-tall mountain. However, when it smashed into Yi Qinfeng's palm, it was unable to harm him in the slightest. This caused the sky-raising godly ape's eyes to widen as it looked at Yi Qinfeng in disbelief. Divine ape, is that all? Feeling the faint pain coming from his palm, Yi Qinfeng was very satisfied with the great desolate Ian physique. Die! The sky-raising divine ape instantly ignited his powerful bloodline and used his most terrifying berserk skill. He instantly raised his battle prowess to the extreme, creating a dazzling staff image. Holding the void god staff in his hand, he continued to attack Yi Qinfeng ferociously. Facing the staff images descending from the sky, Yi Qinfeng did not dodge. Instead, he sent out a punch. Boom! With a single punch, a force of over 5 trillion Jin exploded forth. The terrifying force shattered the rod shadows that the ape god had sent down and smashed towards the ape god, whose expression changed drastically. Demonic god altar. Sensing the terrifying power of Yi Qinfeng's punch, the heaven-raising divine ape immediately spat out a demon god altar. It was a supreme-grade ancestral artifact, and used it to block Yi Qinfeng's punch. However, the divine ape was too terrifying. The power of Yi Qinfeng's punch exceeded that of an ordinary void god artifact. It shattered the supreme-grade ancestral artifact, demon god altar, and sent the heaven-raising divine ape flying. The heaven-raising divine ape's body almost exploded. What? Were all of you still standing there for? Why aren't you working together to destroy him? The heaven-raising divine ape didn't expect Yi Qinfeng's strength to rise so quickly. Just by relying on his powerful physical body, the heaven-raising divine ape immediately ordered the demonic beasts to attack Yi Qinfeng together. Screech! Suddenly, a series of ear-piercing phoenix cries resounded. The divine phoenix general had almost devoured all the ancestral energy in the ancestral beast vein. It flapped its scarlet wings and flew over with scorching heat. Divine phoenix general. The heaven-raising divine ape didn't expect that Yi Qinfeng wasn't the only one in the Beast Emperor Ridge. The heaven-raising divine ape immediately felt uneasy. He ordered the demonic beast to attack as he turned around to escape. The moment the heaven-raising divine ape tried to escape, the divine phoenix fire flapped its wings vigorously and burned the heaven-raising divine ape. Although the divine phoenix general hadn't completely refined the divine phoenix fire, it had raised the power of the divine phoenix fire by 2 levels. Under the divine phoenix fire, the attacks of the demonic beasts were instantly melted. Miserable cries could be heard in the void. Heaven-raising divine ape, where do you think you're going? The phoenix god unleashed the divine fire of the phoenix and instantly melted dozens of demon clan cultivators. He stood in front of the towering sky godly ape and stared at him with a sharp gaze. Divine Phoenix General, what cultivation realm have you reached? The heaven-raising divine ape felt his heart trembling when facing the divine Phoenix General. Even his divine beast bloodline was suppressed. Great Void God Realm. The divine Phoenix General didn't hide anything and answered honestly. Great Void God Realm. After knowing the strength of the divine Phoenix General, the heaven-raising divine ape was scared out of his wits. He stuttered, Divine Phoenix General, it's all my fault. I was forced by the Sky Tribe. Please spare me. I won't dare to do it again. You won't dare to do it again? The divine Phoenix General said coldly. Weren't you very domineering when you led the Sky Tribe to hunt me down? Why are you afraid now? Divine Phoenix General, please give me another chance to live. As long as you spare me, I'm willing to submit to you. I'll submit to you forever. The heaven-raising divine ape didn't want to die. In order to live, he begged for mercy. Sure, if you're willing to submit to me, I can spare your life. The heaven-raising divine ape was an empty god after all. If he could subdue him, it would increase Yi Qinfeng's strength. Yes, I'm willing to submit to you. The heaven-raising divine ape nodded and promised. All right, Since you're willing to submit to me, don't resist. If you dare to resist, don't blame me for being merciless. Yi Qianfeng summoned the Soul Eater's brain as he spoke. Although the Soul Eater's brain was weak and couldn't control an empty god, if the heaven-raising divine ape was willing to submit to him and didn't resist, the Soul Eater's brain still had a chance to control him. No, please spare me. Looking at the Soul Eater's brain in Yi Qianfeng's hand, the heaven-raising divine ape's face turned pale. He knew the consequences of being controlled by the Soul Eater's brain, and he wasn't willing to be controlled by Yi Qianfeng. Since you're not willing to submit to me, you could go to hell. Yi Qianfeng's eyes narrowed. He immediately opened the chaotic territory and covered the heaven-raising divine ape. No, under the attack of the great desolation domain's destructive power, the ape god could only feel a few trillion kilograms of power surging towards him from all directions. His powerful physical body was constantly being torn apart. His all-out attack was unable to withstand the suppression of the great desolation domain. Boom! The heaven-raising divine ape's powerful physical body was turned into a bloody mist by the chaotic territory. The heaven-raising divine ape, the monster king of the demonic tribe, was killed by the chaotic territory. Let's go. Chapter 2066. 5 days later, Yi Qianfeng and the Phoenix God arrived at the border of the monster realm, Monster Separation Ridge. Phoenix God, I'm leaving the monster realm. Are you coming with me, or are you staying in the monster realm and slowly killing the heavenly tribes? Demon Almighty. Yi Qianfeng appeared in the deepest part of Monster Separation Ridge and looked at the Phoenix God, who was wearing a rainbow-colored robe. I'll go with you. Although the Phoenix God's strength had skyrocketed and she had the ability to fight against Supreme Emperor Heaven or Supreme God Heaven, she had yet to completely refine the primitive fire. It was still risky for her to stay alone. Moreover, after knowing that Supreme Emperor Heaven and Supreme God Heaven were not the real masterminds, she was even more determined to team up with Yi Qianfeng. She had a feeling that in the future, Yi Qianfeng would shine brightly. She would be able to obtain unimaginable benefits if she followed him. She might even have a chance to complete the 9th nirvana and complete the ultimate transformation. All right, Phoenix God, go cultivate in the Qinquan realm. I'll summon you if I need you. Yi Qianfeng also hoped that the Phoenix God would follow him. With a super expert like her protecting him, even if he faced Supreme God Heaven or Supreme Emperor Heaven, he would have a chance to escape. All right. The Phoenix God nodded and entered the Qinquan realm to refine the primitive fire in the 50-fold accelerated time flow. A month later, Yi Qianfeng arrived outside the Sword Territory after a long journey. He entered the Sword Territory through the wormhole created by the Space Swallower. Yi Qianfeng came to the Sword Territory to look for the ancestral sword crystal and use it to refine the invincible sword body. If he could refine the invincible sword body and merge it with the primitive fire body, his combat strength would soar to a terrifying level. While Yi Qianfeng was on his way to the Sword Territory, Shun Daoxiu, Shun Henggu, and Shun Daoxiu both broke through to mid-level Virtual God. Meanwhile, Virtual God Jinlei, who had refined several Chaos Divine fruits consecutively, was only a hair's breadth away from breaking through to mid-level Virtual God. I wonder if Sword God has broken through to the Virtual God realm. After quietly arriving at the Sword region, Yi Qianfeng did not stop. He flew towards the Heavenly Sword Hall at an extremely fast speed. On the way to the Heavenly Sword Hall, Yi Qianfeng discovered that the entire Heavenly Sword domain was peaceful. There were no traces of war. He heaved a sigh of relief. After breaking through to the empty God realm, Yi Qianfeng's flying speed was extremely fast. After a few days of flying, he arrived at the foot of the Sword God Mountain. He realized that there were many talented disciples gathered at the foot of the Sword God Mountain, blocking the magnificent mountain gate. Yes, the aura of the Tian clan. When Yi Qianfeng released his powerful soul force, he unexpectedly felt the aura of the supreme expert of the Tian clan in the Sword Divine Palace, which surprised him. Why would someone from the Tian clan appear here? Could it be that the Tian clan discovered that the Sword God had betrayed them and sent experts to suppress him? Yi Chunfeng realized that several divine tribe almighties had appeared in the heavenly sword hall. One of them had even reached the virtual god realm. Several thoughts flashed through his mind as he guessed in his heart. However, he was not afraid of the betrayal of the sword god. With the control of the soul devourer's brain, even if the supreme Shintian came, he would not be able to make the sword god betray him. Trying to figure out the purpose of the Tian clan's visit, Yi Chunfeng changed his appearance and went around the disciples who had come to acknowledge him as their master. When he arrived at the mountain gate, he saw a familiar figure and was stunned. Hey, don't be noisy and don't push. If anyone is disobedient, I won't be polite to him. Xianxia put her hands on her hips and warned angrily as she looked at the disciples who had come to the heavenly sword hall to acknowledge him as their master. Hey, I'm talking to you. Don't you have ears? Line up behind me. Looking at Yi Chunfeng, who had changed his appearance and did not line up, Xianxia stared at him with her big eyes and shouted loudly, I'm not here to acknowledge you as my master. Looking at Xianxia, who had grown taller and more lively, Yi Chunfeng revealed a faint smile. However, because of the existence of a Tian clan, Yi Chunfeng did not want to expose himself too early. In addition, Xianxia had a big mouth, so Yi Chunfeng did not reveal his identity. If you're not here to acknowledge me as your master, then what are you doing here? Xianxia looked at Yi Chunfeng with a face full of suspicion. She did not believe Yi Chunfeng's words at all. To meet a friend, Yi Chunfeng said with a light smile. Who could it be? Xianxia blinked her big eyes and looked at Yi Chunfeng. She did not know why, but she felt that Yi Chunfeng's appearance was very unfamiliar, yet there was a sense of familiarity. Xianzi Wei, Qin Ruolin. Yi Chunfeng said indifferently. Who? Xianxia's voice suddenly became louder, like a little wildcat whose tail had been stepped on. She looked at Yi Chunfeng with disdain and said, Another toad who wants to eat swan meat. Let me tell you, my elder sister and elder sister Ruolin are both taken. Go away. Yi Chunfeng did not expect that Xianxia's mouth would still be so poisonous after not seeing her for so many years. He was speechless. He did not argue with Xianxia. Under the gazes of many pairs of mocking eyes, he walked to an empty corner and summoned the space swallower. He dug a wormhole and quietly entered the divine sword peak. He wanted to find out the origin of the heaven race and then make a plan. What is this? After entering the divine sword peak, Yi Chunfeng's powerful soul power vaguely felt that there were thousands of extremely powerful ancient array flags hidden around the divine sword peak. And among these thousands of ancient array flags, Yi Chunfeng vaguely felt the aura of the heaven race. It seemed that the heaven race had already known about Sword God's betrayal, but because the Chaos Tomb had taken up too much of their energy, they had not made a move. Now that the Chaos Tomb had been destroyed, the heaven race, who had lost a great opportunity, had started to accumulate power to deal with the sword domain. Guessing the purpose of the Tian clan leaving behind these 1,000 ancient ancestral flags, Yi Chunfeng immediately went to the side of the ancient ancestral flags and released a powerful Great Desolate power, shattering the ancient array flags one by one, preventing them from activating and forming a great killing formation. Stop, why are you here? How did you sneak in? When Yi Chunfeng broke the last ancient array flag hidden in the mountain, a furious shout was heard. On the way back to the heavenly sword hall, Xianxia accidentally discovered Yi Chunfeng. She turned into a shadow and appeared to stop him. Of course I walked in. Yi Chunfeng did not expect Xianxia to be so sharp and discover him. He rubbed his nose and said helplessly, he would rather face an empty god than deal with Xianxia, who was pestering him endlessly. If I walked in, Xianxia snorted and said, Do you think I will believe your nonsense? There are restrictions around the Divine Sword Peak, and you can walk in? I think you're obviously a spy, and you have come to the Heavenly Sword Hall with a motive. Let me tell you, if you obediently tell me your purpose, I might be in a good mood and lightly beat you up. If you don't behave, I'll beat you until your butt explodes. Hearing Xianxia call him great and again, Yi Chunfeng's face darkened. He was speechless. Little girl, you're young but you talk big. If you take advantage of me again, I will beat your butt. Yi Feng said with a bitter smile. You are courting death. I will not let you off today. I will make you a eunuch. After saying that, Xianxia's body emitted a powerful ancestral aura. She summoned an extremely sharp middle-rank ancestral sword and executed a set of mysterious sword moves to attack Yi Feng. Swish! A sword pierced over, and a deep sword mark appeared in the air. The sword light swallowed the boundless sword aura, and within the terrifying sword aura, there were 3 great killing intents. Facing Xianxia's profound sword attack, Yi Feng did not dodge. Instead, he extended a finger and countered it, breaking the sword attack. Before Xianxia could react, he snatched away the mid-grade ancestral sword in her hand. Immediately after, Yi Feng's 5 fingers shot out a terrifying desolation force. Like a dumpling, it directly bound Xianxia. Just as the panic-stricken Xianxia was about to shout for help, Yi Feng raised his hand and ruthlessly slapped her in the face. Her small but stuck out. A piercing pain instantly spread throughout Xianxia's body.